Chapter 376. Mu Lianfeng nodded faintly and responded. Zhao Yin'er could not help but feel bitter when she saw the 180-degree change in old Madame Mu's attitude. It was not that she did not understand old Madame Mu's thoughts, but now that she had confirmed that she did not want to rely on Mu Lianfeng, she was happy. Miss Yin'er, then you should stay in the Shitzi mansion for the next 2 days. I will ask the servants to take good care of you. I guarantee that you will eat and drink well. Old Madame Mu said with a smile. Zhao Yin'er did not want to argue with old Madame Mu about her sudden change in attitude. She was even more lazy to argue with old Madame Mu, so she nodded and said, "Thank you, old Madame. You're welcome. This is what I should do. Miss Yin'er saved our Fenger. The entire Shitzi mansion is grateful. If you need any help, you can ask." "Thank you, old Madame." As soon as Zhao Yin'er finished speaking, she heard Doubta's voice outside the room. "Mother." When Mu Lianfeng went to the prison, he asked the servants to take care of Doudu. At first, when Mu Lianfeng came back with Doudu, Doudu called Mu Lianfeng father. The servants thought that Doudu was Mu Lianfeng's illegitimate son, but they thought that it was impossible. If Mu Lianfeng had a son, then he would be the Shitzi mansion's little Shitzi. Old Madame would be overjoyed if she knew. She would not let the Shitzi mansion's child wander outside. Maybe there was another reason. Old Madame Mu also liked children. When she heard Doubta's voice, her eyes lit up. Hearing Doubta's soft voice, she knew that he was a cute little guy. "Mother." Doubta saw Zhao Yin'er when he entered the room and rushed to Zhao Yin'er. She burrowed into Zhao Yin'er's arms. After all, he was only a 3-year-old child. He simply couldn't leave his mother. Doubta was also worried that Zhao Yin'er had been away for such a long time. After returning to Zhao Yin'er's embrace, Doubta hugged Zhao Yin'er tightly. He was afraid that if he let go, Zhao Yin'er would leave again. Zhao Yin'er caressed Doubta's smooth little face and said softly, "Mother is here." "Mother, Doubta misses you so much. Mother just left not long ago. Why do you want to die already?" Zhao Yin'er's lips curved into a faint smile. At this moment, Zhao Yin'er saw Doudu. Her anger from old Madame Mu immediately dissipated. Old Madame Mu couldn't help but look at Doudu, who was in Zhao Yin'er's arms. Looking at Doubta's height, she knew that he was a few years old. She really didn't expect Zhao Yin'er to be the child's mother. Now, she didn't have to worry about Zhao Yin'er having other motives. It was impossible for a married woman with a child to have anything to do with her grandson. "Miss Yin'er's child is already so big, right?" Old Madame Mu asked with a smile. She seemed to be in a good mood. Zhao Yin'er responded. Then, she held Doubta's little hand and walked to old Madame Mu. She said to Doudu, "Doudu, great-great-grandmother." Children had to be polite. It was one thing for her to have a problem with old Madame Mu, but she still had to be polite on the surface. Doudu was also very obedient. When he heard Zhao Yin'er's words, he went to old Madame Mu and said sweetly, "Hello, great-grandmother." Chapter 377. The two of them chuckled. Business was pretty good. In just one morning, Mulan had sold nearly 200 copper coins. To Mulan, this was already a large sum of money. Although she couldn't do this every day, she could still make do with a few hundred copper coins a month. She could barely get by. Mulan sighed with emotion. "I'm thinking about when I can save more money and build a few houses. At that time, I'll have a separate house. It'll be more comfortable for my family to live together." At present, he continued to live with old Madame Zhu. When he heard old Madame Zhu's voice, he couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. If he had his own house and lived a little further away, he really wouldn't have anything to do with the Zhu family. Zhao Yin'er could understand Mulan's feelings. It's always good to have a dream. Life will get better slowly. Mulan sighed. That's true. Building a house costs a lot of money. Now that we're selling these things, it's already good enough that we can live on, let alone building a house. In the end, it was because of money. Zhao Yin'er looked at Mulan's injured fingers. She couldn't continue weaving baskets for a long time. It was tiring and hurt her hands. The most important thing was that she didn't make a lot of money. If she wanted to live a better life, she had to think of another way out. What kind of business could she do in this town? Zhao Yin'er suddenly thought of the snack stall. If she did it alone, she would be busy and strenuous. But if she did it with 2 people, it wouldn't be so tiring. She could also make more money. Zhao Yun'er had a feeling that she couldn't do business with Sun Zhongquan for long. She didn't know what Sun Zhongquan and Qin Hailan were doing. If she really couldn't do business with Sun Zhongquan, she could make a plan in advance. During the day, Mulan's baskets were almost sold out. After packing up the remaining things, the two of them went to the market to buy some vegetables. Mulan directly weighed a caddy of pork and brought it back. The children at home hadn't eaten anything good. She had some money on hand, so she had to buy some to nourish the children and satisfy their cravings. On the way back, Zhao Yun'er told Mulan about the snack stall plan. Mulan was very interested. "Yun'er, if possible, I want to do it with you. I'm not afraid of hard work. I'm happy as long as we can make money." Zhao Yun'er nodded. As long as she could make money, she didn't mind even if it was a little hard. "But Yun'er, I don't have the capital." Zhao Yun'er patted Mulan's shoulder. Yun'er, I feel that you're the one who loses out. How about this? When we share the money, you can get more and give me less. Or I can work for you every month, and you can give me a little salary. Mulan, don't you know our relationship? Don't be so polite with me. We can talk about how to share the money later. Let's go to Yang City to check the situation and see when we can buy the stall. Sure. After lunch, Zhao Yun'er wanted to go up the mountain, but there were a lot of officers and soldiers. These soldiers gathered in front of Zhao Yun'er's house, which attracted many villagers. They were all chattering about what had happened. Chapter 378. Fortunately, he was quick-witted and found an excuse. Otherwise, Matriarch Mu would definitely nag at him about his marriage again. It would be fine if he married Zhao Yun'er, but the problem was that Matriarch Mu liked Morong Shuang, the cousin he had no feelings for. "Father, does your head really hurt? Do you want Dowda to massage it for you?" Dowda asked considerately. Looking at Dowda's worried little eyes, Mu Lianfeng was touched. His son was filial. "No, father was just teasing your great-grandmother," Mu Lianfeng said with a smile. "Ah, father? That's not good, right? My mother said that I can't tease people, especially the younger generation. I can't tease the elders." Dowda frowned with a serious expression. He said seriously. Mu Lianfeng felt that he was being lectured by a child. He couldn't help but laugh. "All right, it's father's fault. Father shouldn't tease great-grandmother." "Then does father's head really not hurt?" "It doesn't hurt." "That's good." Dowda smiled at Mu Lianfeng. Helianchen looked at the interaction between Mu Lianfeng and Dowdu. Why did he feel that the two of them were more and more like father and son? Mu Lianfeng called for the servants to bring some food over. He had dinner with Zhao Yun'er and Dowdu. The next day, Zhao Yun'er and Dowdu stayed in the Crown Prince's residence. Mu Lianfeng went out to help Zhao Yun'er investigate the case. Zhao Yun'er couldn't get involved with the case. She believed that Mu Lianfeng could help her settle it. With Mu Lianfeng busy, Zhao Yun'er was free and at ease. She stayed in the young prince's mansion, because old Madame Mu felt that she was no longer a threat. She treated Zhao Yun'er kindly, especially to Dowdu. He doted on him, as if he were his own great-grandson. Not only did he bring Dowdu to play in front of him, but he also took out all the delicious pastries in the residence for Dowdu to eat. Dowdu usually stayed in the countryside, and had never eaten such delicious food before. It was already rare for her to eat a piece of candy, let alone these expensive pastries. "Great-grandma, it's delicious." Dowda smiled at Matriarch Mu. Looking at Dowda's puffy cheeks, Matriarch Mu smiled and said, "Eat more if you like it. Great-grandma has a lot here." "Great-grandma, you're so good to Dowdu. You're even better than Dowda's own great-grandmother. Dowda likes you." Dowda's soft voice, coupled with her charming smile, made old Madame Mu burst with joy. How could there be such a cute child? Looking at Dowdu reminded her of her foam, or when he was young. "Didn't your own great-grandmother treat you well?" Matriarch Mu asked with a smile. Dowda paused and shook his head. He looked pitiful. Great-grandma didn't treat Dowda well. She treated mother even worse. "Why? Didn't your father protect your mother?" Dowda didn't have a father when he was young. Great-grandma and the rest scolded mother. They said that mother was shameless to give birth to Dowdu. Dowda was still young and couldn't express clearly about Zhao Yun'er's pregnancy before marriage. However, Matriarch Mu still pieced it together from Doubta's words. Zhao Yin'er gave birth to Doubtu with another man before marriage. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. Why was Zhao Yin'er such a woman? She really couldn't tell. Chapter 379. No, she had to keep a distance from Zhao Yin'er after her grandson finished his business. If they didn't have a chance to get along, Zhao Yin'er wouldn't be able to seduce him. Mother is so pitiful. When Doubta grows up, you must protect mother well. Doubta said seriously. Seeing that Doubtu was so sensible and filial, old Madame Mu liked him even more. She thought that it would be great if Doubtu was Mu Lianfeng's biological son. It was a pity that such a child had a mother like Zhao Yin. When it was time for lunch, Zhao Yin'er came to old Madame Mu to pick up Doubtu for lunch. Zhao Yin'er found that old Madame Mu's attitude towards her seemed to be much colder. She didn't know what she had done to offend old Madame Mu. Zhao Yin'er was not very enthusiastic when old Madame Mu was indifferent to her. This was how people interacted with each other. At least they treated each other equally. Miss Yin'er, I like Doubta very much. Why don't you let Doubtu live with me in the Shitsi's mansion in the future? Anyway, Doubtu has recognized Feng Er as his godfather. You're a young girl, and it's not easy for you to get married with a child. Let me take care of Doubtu. You can also find yourself a husband. Don't you think so? Old Madame Mu's words almost made Zhao Yin'er vomit blood. What was this old woman talking about? Why would she give her own son to someone else? The corner of her mouth couldn't help but twitch. If it weren't for old Madame Mu's identity, she would have scolded her. Thank you, old madam, for your love for Doubtu and your concern for me. But Yun only wants to live with Doubtu in this life. I don't want to get married. You're a young girl. How can you not get married? You have to find a good family to marry. How about this? Many of the servants in my mansion have grandchildren who are about the same age as you. Do you want me to introduce them to you? With me in charge, it will definitely be better than finding someone else on your own. The more old Madame Mu spoke, the angrier Zhao Yin'er got. What old Madame Mu meant was that her status was only good enough for the descendants of the servants in the Shitsi manor. She really looked down on her. Although old Madame Mu did not scold her, Zhao Yin'er felt that it was more embarrassing than scolding her like Hua Chunhua. Thinking about it, it was a little ironic. If someone of her status were to marry Mu Lianfeng, old Mistress Mu would think that she was being delusional. She had previously promised Mu Lianfeng that she would marry him. Perhaps this was something that would never happen in this lifetime. She didn't want to be humiliated like this in the future. There's no need for that. Thank you for your concern, old madam. Yun knows what's going on with Yin'er. It's time for dinner. I'll take Doubtu out for dinner. Old Madame Mu wanted to continue persuading her, but Zhao Yin'er did not seem to listen at all. She looked at her with disdain. So she nodded and let Zhao Yin'er take Doubtu out for dinner. After Zhao Yin'er left, old Madame Mu snorted softly. What kind of person was this? A country bumpkin was a country bumpkin. She had no manners at all. Fortunately, she would not have any dealings with her in the future. Otherwise she would be furious. For a woman like Zhao Yin'er, it was good for her to introduce her servants' grandchildren to her. She really did not know how to appreciate favors. After marrying into the Shitsi manor, she would be a city dweller. Now it seemed that Zhao Yin'er only deserved to marry those dirty men in the countryside. Chapter 380. On the way back, Doubta noticed that Zhao Yin'er seemed a little unhappy. He asked in a soft voice, "Mother, what's wrong?" "It's nothing," Zhao Yin'er said. "But mother's face is gloomy. I know you're unhappy." Doubta pursed his lips. His little face was full of worry. Seeing that her son was so concerned about her, Zhao Yin'er felt a little better. She pulled the corners of her mouth into a smile. "No, you saw mother smiling. That's why you're not unhappy. Children were easy to fool." Doubta was also fooled by Zhao Yin'er for a moment. He saw that Zhao Yin'er's face had a smile again. Doubta also cracked his little mouth into a smile. Mother, great-grandmother is very good to Doubta. Today, she brought a lot of delicious things for Doubta. That's good. Zhao Yin'er couldn't deny that although old Madame Mu's attitude towards her was a little bad, she was really good to Doubta. Mother, when will we be able to live in such a big house? Our house is so small, so small. After having a comparison, Not to mention Daodu. Even Zhao Yin'er was a little disgusted by her broken thatched house that was about to collapse. Living in a big house was really much more comfortable. Mother, work hard to earn money. In the future, you can also build a big house. Based on old Madame Mu's current attitude towards her, Zhao Yin'er estimated that the matter between her and Mu Lianfeng would be temporarily put on hold. Therefore, she still had to earn her own living and take care of Daodu to live a good life. After 2 days, the case officially went to court. After Mu Lianfeng's investigation and evidence, the final responsibility fell on Qin Hailan. The bullfrog that had eaten the food was taken from the batch of goods sent by Qin Hailan. The bullfrog sent by Zhao Yin'er had no problems. The county magistrate acted according to the evidence and finally convicted Qin Hailan. Although Qin Hailan didn't intend to murder people, she couldn't shirk the responsibility of selling a toad and a bullfrog for money. Finally, Qin Hailan was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The Feline restaurant had no intention of harming anyone, but they couldn't avoid responsibility. Thus, the restaurant was fined 200 taels of silver. Just like that, the case was closed. Zhao Yin'er was finally cleared of the charges and was not implicated. Walking out of the yamen, Zhao Yin'er heaved a sigh of relief. If she was alone, she wouldn't have been able to investigate so many things, let alone clear her name. Perhaps she could only admit that she had been wrong this time. The one who had been imprisoned was her, not Qin Hailan. Zhao Yin'er and Mu Lianfeng walked out of the cell side by side. Miss Yin'er. Sun Zhongquan called out to Zhao Yin'er. He also felt a little guilty about this matter. He knew that he had wronged Zhao Yin'er. If he had confessed Qin Hailan earlier, Zhao Yin'er wouldn't have been implicated. Sun Zhongquan came over. Zhao Yin'er had a cold attitude and didn't want to say anything more to Sun Zhongquan. Miss Yin'er, I'm really sorry. It's all my fault. I apologize to you. At that time, I was blinded by lard and accepted that woman's things. Now this matter has happened. Zhao Yin'er snorted softly. Shopkeeper, I've warned you before. Don't let anything happen. Now that something really happened, I can only say that your restaurant lost 200 taels of silver. You asked for it. Chapter 381. Sun Zhongquan felt a little regretful when he thought about it. Not only was he fined 200 taels of silver, but the restaurant's reputation would also be affected in the future. What a restaurant was most afraid of was that customers would eat in the restaurant and have problems, let alone die from eating. The restaurant had been closed for 2 days, and Sun Zhongquan already had a premonition that the business would be miserable when he reopened the restaurant after returning. If he wanted the business to improve, he had to find some unique things. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to attract customers at all. Shopkeeper, it's useless to say this now. Things have already happened, and there's no way to reverse it. You'd better take care of yourself in the future. And the contract we made before. You can only buy from me, but you violated the contract. Then the cooperation between the two of us ends here. And there is no need to have any contact in the future. Zhao Yin'er said coldly. This kind of person wasn't suitable for her to cooperate with in the long term. This time there was a problem, but fortunately it was solved. She couldn't guarantee that there wouldn't be any problems with cooperating with Sun Zhongquan in the future. If something happened, it would be too late to regret it. There were other ways to earn money, so Sun Zhongquan was fine. Miss Yin'er, it's my fault, but we won't stop cooperating. Sun Zhongquan frowned and asked embarrassedly. What's the point of cooperating with a person like Boss Sun, who goes back on his word? Zhao Yin'er replied. She didn't want to be entangled with Sun Zhongquan anymore, so she pulled Mu Lianfeng and left. On the way, Mu Lianfeng smiled and asked, Yin'er, are you really not cooperating with that restaurant? Zhao Yin'er nodded and responded, It's good that you don't cooperate. You have to wake up early every day to deliver goods. It's quite tiring. Mu Lianfeng's tone was filled with heartache. Zhao Yin'er was a woman after all. She couldn't work as hard as a man. Since she had him in the future, he could give Zhao Yin'er someone to rely on. Yin'er, I'll take care of you in the future. I'll take care of you. Mu Lianfeng held Zhao Yin'er's hand, as if he was making a precious promise. Zhao Yin'er and Mu Lianfeng looked at each other and smiled. A woman should be most touched by a man saying this to her. But Zhao Yin'er also understood that this kind of words couldn't be trusted. She was a modern woman with her own independent thoughts. She didn't want to rely on a man for the rest of her life. Let's talk about this later. I'm afraid your grandmother won't agree to our marriage. In. Zhao Yun'er could feel Mu Lianfeng's sincerity. She also understood his helplessness, so she didn't want to give Mu Lianfeng any pressure. If they really couldn't be together, then they wouldn't be together. The two of them returned to the Shitzi mansion together. Matriarch Mu was playing with Daodu. Seeing that Daoda's clothes were of poor quality, she specially asked the servants in the mansion to make several sets of clothes for Daodu. Spring, summer, autumn and winter. There were 2 or 3 sets for each season. The clothes were just made and sent over today. Matriarch Mu helped Daoda change into them. The moment Zhao Yin'er returned, she saw Daodu in a new set of clothes. He looked just like a little prince. Daoda really looked a lot cuter when he dressed up like this. Chapter 382. Good. Zhao Yin'er praised. Daoda likes it. Mother, the new clothes are so comfortable. That's good. The clothes made of silk were very smooth on the body. How could it be uncomfortable? How could the coarse clothes she bought compare to it? Old Madame Mu stepped forward and asked with a smile. Has Miss Yin'er's matter been settled? Mu Lianfeng nodded. Yes, Grandma, it's settled. Is Miss Yin'er going back soon? Old Madame Mu's tone also revealed a kind of eagerness and impatience. Grandma, Yin'er hasn't been in our house for long. How can you say that? She's a girl. How can she stay in other people's house for a long time? This will cause misunderstandings. And Miss Yin'er's family will definitely be worried. Naturally, she has to go back. Old Madame Mu said with a smile on her face. But her eyes were mixed with disgust and disgust when she looked at Zhao Yin'er. To put it bluntly, she didn't like her, and wanted to drive her away. This kind of feeling of being driven away was not good. Zhao Yin'er frowned. Before Mu Lianfeng said anything, Zhao Yin'er said, Old Madam is right. The matter is settled. I really should go back. Old Madam, thank you for taking care of Daodu and me during this time. Yin'er. Mu Lianfeng was stunned, and looked at Zhao Yin'er. Zhao Yin'er smiled bitterly. Since she was looked down upon so much, what was the point of her staying in the Shitzi mansion? Instead of being despised like this, it was better to leave sensibly. Grandma. Feng, or Miss Yin'er said that she wants to go back. You don't have to keep her. Shuang'er will come tomorrow. You should prepare well. Don't hide from Shuang'er like before. Give birth to a lovely great-grandson like Daoda with Shuang'er as soon as possible. Old Madame Mu's tone was a bit strict. Mu Lianfeng wanted to refute, but when he saw Old Madame Mu's sullen face, he was afraid that Old Madame Mu would not only not agree to be with Zhao Yin'er at this time, but also be more vigilant against Zhao Yin'er in the future. Young Master Mu listened to Old Madame. I'll go back and pack first. I'll go back later. Zhao Yin'er said in a low voice. The corner of Old Madame Mu's mouth raised into a smile. She felt that Zhao Yin'er was quite sensible. Otherwise, she would have kicked Zhao Yin'er out. Miss Yin, I'll send you back in a carriage. Why don't you leave Daoda with me for a few days? I'll send Daoda back later. Old Madame Mu was happy that Zhao Yin'er left, but she was a little reluctant to part with Daodu. Zhao Yin'er's mouth twitched. She didn't know where Old Madame Mu got the cheek to say such words. She wanted her to leave, but also wanted Daodu to stay. How could such a good thing happen? I'm very happy that Old Madame likes Daodu, but I only have one child. I can't leave Daodu, so I still have to take Daoda back. Zhao Yin'er replied faintly. Old Madame Mu looked at Daoda's little face reluctantly. All right then. After Zhao Yin'er walked away, Old Madame Mu snorted softly. A woman suffering with a child. I don't know what she's thinking. Daoda can live a good life with us, but she doesn't let him. She doesn't know how to appreciate favors. Chapter 383. You're speaking up for her. Humph. Anyway, I don't think it's necessary for a woman to make her child suffer. Daoda can have a good life with her, but she doesn't let him. Feng, I don't want to scold you, but you should stay away from this kind of woman. Don't be bewitched by this kind of vixen. Of course, Old Madame Mu didn't say the last sentence. Mu Lianfeng saw that old Madame Mu couldn't be persuaded and sighed slightly. Grandma, I'll send Yin and Douda back today. Feng, what are you doing? You're still injured. You should rest at home. There are many servants in the Shitzi mansion. Grandma, I want to send them back personally. Yin has been taking care of me these days. You don't want her to stay in the Shitzi mansion for a while. You should let me send her back. Mu Lianfeng said. He was afraid that old Madame Mu wouldn't agree and would nag again, so he left in a hurry. Alas Feng, old Madame Mu sighed again and again. She hoped that her Feng just sent Zhao Yin back and didn't mean anything else. Zhao Yin packed her things. Actually, she didn't have anything. She mainly packed for Doudu. Old Madame Mu made a big bag of clothes for Doudu. There were also some cakes and candies for Doudu. In less than half an hour, Zhao Yin finished packing. The Shitzi mansion had also prepared the carriage. As soon as she came out of the door, she saw a man in black come forward. He looked a little hurried. Master. The man in black came forward and bowed to Mu Lianfeng respectfully. Zhao Yin had seen this man before. It was Mo Yin. Why are you in such a hurry? What's the matter? Mu Lianfeng asked. Master, there's a letter from the capital. Mo Yin said and took out a letter from his sleeve. He handed it to Mu Lianfeng. Mu Lianfeng opened it and read. Got it. Go and prepare. We'll go to the capital together tomorrow. Today. I will send Miss Yin home first. Mu Lianfeng instructed. Yes, master. The man in black responded, then glanced at Zhao Yin and Doudu. When he saw Douda's small face, he was slightly shocked. This child was really similar to his master. Then he looked at Zhao Yin and made some guesses. In fact, the last time he saw Zhao Yin, he felt a sense of familiarity. It was as if he had seen her somewhere before, but he couldn't remember where. When she saw Doudu, she couldn't help but ask, Is Miss Yin from the Black Mountain village? Mu Lianfeng saw Mo Yin gossiping about Zhao Yin's residence. Do you think he cares too much about his master? Yes. Zhao Yin nodded at Mo Yin with a smile. Mo Yin frowned slightly. Was it really the person he was thinking about? All right, you can go now. Why are you gossiping about this as a man? Mu Lianfeng urged with some disdain. Mo Yin found it inappropriate to keep asking, so she left. Yin, I'll help you up. Mu Lianfeng carried Doudu onto the carriage first before helping Zhao Yin up in a considerate manner. The carriage slowly made its way to the Black Mountain village. On the way, Mu Lianfeng was rather reluctant to leave. Originally, he wanted to stay for a while longer after sending Zhao Yin back. Even if Madame Mu urged him, he wouldn't return to his estate. Chapter 384. Father, will you come back after sending Doudu and Mother home? Asked Doudu. Yeah, I'm going to the capital, and I won't be back for a while. I'll visit you and your mother when I'm back. All right. Father, if you're back, please come to visit Doudu and Mother as soon as possible. Yes, of course. Mu Lianfeng rubbed Douda's head lovingly. Zhao Yin was interested in the capital that Mu Lianfeng mentioned. The capital wasn't far from Yang City, and it was only 100 miles away. In the 21st century, it would take a few hours to get there by car. But in ancient times, it would take a whole day to get there by horse carriage. Zhao Yin was planning in her heart that if she had the chance, she would go to the capital in the future. The world was very big, and she had to go out and see more of it. In addition, the capital was a big place where she could make more money. The horse carriage was much faster than the donkey, and they arrived at the village in a short while. When Zhao Yin arrived at the door of her house, she found it was a mess. Many of the vegetables that she had spent a lot of effort to grow were pulled out by someone. She knew that someone had visited her house. Seeing this, she was a little angry. She had only been away for a few days, and someone in the village had already done something immoral. Zhao Yin ran to the kitchen to check, and found that the rice and flour in the kitchen were all gone. It seemed that someone had taken advantage of her absence to rob her house. Damn it! Zhao Yin bit her lower lip and suppressed her anger. She had an impulse to beat someone up. If she knew who it was, she would skin that person alive. Mu Lianfeng's horse carriage arrived at the village, and it attracted the attention of the villagers. Seeing that Zhao Yin was back, they all went up to see what was going on. They had doubted Mu Lianfeng's identity before, But when they saw Mu Lianfeng's horse carriage and Mu Lianfeng's new clothes, they believed it at once. Judging from his aura, he must be someone important. There was nothing suspicious about him being the heir. Wow! It seems that Yun'er's husband is really the heir. That's right, then it's not simple. Little Yun is going to have a meteoric rise. Exactly. If old Zhao's family knew that Yun'er was pregnant with the heir's child, they wouldn't drive Yun'er away. They would probably take good care of Yun'er at home. Haha, man proposes but God disposes. Old Zhao family deserves it. No matter how well Yun'er is doing now, it has nothing to do with them. Zhao Yun'er looked inside and out of the house. Except for the broken things in her house that were not taken away. The food and the like were all taken away, including her little donkey. She didn't think about it before she left, but now she felt that she had suffered a great loss. When Lu Fugui heard that Zhao Yun had returned to the village, he hurriedly rushed to Zhao Yun'er's house. Yun'er, you're back? It's great that you're back. Lu Fugui said with a smile. Yeah, Zhao Yun'er answered indifferently. She didn't have much enthusiasm for Lu Fugui. Her house was ruined, and she thought that Lu Fugui didn't care about it. Chapter 385. Zhao Yun'er suspected that the other people in the village had done something sneaky, so someone stood up and said, Yun'er girl, the rest of us didn't do anything. It was all done by old Zhao's family. That's right, Yun'er girl, don't falsely accuse others. It was all done by old Zhao's family. If you want to find someone, you have to find old Zhao's family. It has nothing to do with us. Zhao Yun'er was furious when she heard that it was old Zhao's family. Those shameless people were really amazing. They knew how to make trouble when she wasn't at home. Thinking about it, her things and Xiao Mao were all at old Zhao's house. Seeing Zhao Yun'er's sullen face, Lu Fugui said, Yun'er girl, don't be too angry. Your things were taken away by your grandparents. That's because you weren't at home. They were afraid of thieves, so they let your grandparents take care of it first. You can go to old Zhao's house later and get them back. After Lu Fugui finished speaking, Zhao Yun'er was silent for a moment. If Lu Fugui wasn't lying, then she didn't have to pick a fight with old Zhao's family. She only hoped that old Zhao's family could be tactful and return her things to her. They were really just keeping them safe. Got it, Uncle Li Zheng. I'll go get them now. Then go. It's fine as long as you're fine. Everyone has been worried about you these days. Okay. Zhao Yun'er responded. Zhao Yun'er felt that Lu Fugui's words about everyone being worried about her were very ironic. These people in the village probably wanted to see her make a fool of herself. As for old Zhao's family, no one except her parents was worried about her. More and more people came to watch. A woman said loudly, Zhao Yun'er actually came back. Wasn't she arrested for harming others? Why didn't the government deal with this kind of person and release him back? The person who spoke was Chen Erwa's mother, Feng Yu. She had quarreled with Zhao Yun'er before, so she still held some grudges against Zhao Yun'er. Originally, he thought that Zhao Yun'er had been taken away by the government officials. He felt very satisfied. Now that he saw that Zhao Yun'er had returned safely, his heart was very unhappy. I heard that the person was not killed by Yun'er, but by Qin Hailan. Didn't the government take Qin Hailan away yesterday? Does taking Qin Hailan prove that Zhao Yun'er is innocent? Maybe it was Zhao Yun'er who did it. Now that she had Shizi's support, no one would dare to touch her. In my opinion, Miss Qin is just a scapegoat. Shizi asked the government officials to arrange for her to be Zhao Yun'er's scapegoat. Feng Yu, what you said makes sense. Zhao Yun'er has Shizi's support, so it is very easy for her to get Zhao Yun'er out of prison. Then we should stay away from the person who has done such a bad thing, in case she will do it again next time. You're right. What a sin. If it is really Zhao Yun'er who has done those things, won't it be a disaster if she stays in our village? Seeing that the villagers' emotions were stirred up by her, Feng Yu couldn't help but feel a little proud. The more she talked, the more excited she became. Even if Zhao Yun'er came back this time, she should make the villagers dislike her. Chapter 386. The truth wasn't like that. Why should she be slandered like that? If this kind of thing was spread out, other people would follow suit. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to stay in this village any longer. After going through so many things, Zhao Yin'er finally figured it out. People in ancient times were more difficult to educate than people in modern times. Zhao Yin'er had been a policewoman for many years in the 21st century. She was used to peace. Generally, she wouldn't use force if she could solve things peacefully. Now it seemed that she was wrong. The more the people here gave in to her, the more arrogant they would be. They didn't know when to stop, and would bully her even more in the future. Zhao Yin'er walked to Feng Yu with a sullen face. She coldly stared at the woman who was stirring up trouble and making trouble. Being stared at by Zhao Yin'er, Feng Yu's heart suddenly panicked. Zhao Yin'er, what do you want to do? Why are you staring at me like that? Do you want to scare me to death? You look like a ghost. The corner of Zhao Yin'er's mouth evoked a sneer. What, I can't look at the person? I think you're guilty. Is that why you're acting like this? Do you have a guilty conscience? Who's guilty? Zhao Yin'er, don't talk nonsense. I don't know what you're talking about. Feng Yu said, but didn't dare to look into Zhao Yin'er's eyes. Zhao Yin'er sneered. Your voice was so loud just now. Do you think I didn't hear it? Feng Yu was silent for a while. She thought that there was nothing wrong with what she said. Why was Zhao Yin'er so afraid of Zhao Yin'er? In front of so many people in the village, Zhao Yin'er wouldn't dare to do anything to her. Even if Zhao Yin'er really did something to her, Zhao Yin'er wouldn't be able to live a good life in the village in the future in front of so many people. Her reputation as an unreasonable shrew would be spread out. No one would have any contact with Zhao Yin'er in the future. Thinking of this, Feng Yu felt that his confidence had suddenly risen. She puffed out her chest and said to Zhao Yin'er aggressively, so what if you heard what I said? What I said is not unreasonable. If you don't believe me, you can ask our fellow villagers if I'm right. Zhao Yin'er looked at Feng Yu a few more times. This woman didn't seem to be completely brainless. At least she knew how to stir up the atmosphere. Although none of the other villagers dared to stand out and criticize Zhao Yin'er like Feng Yu, they still whispered in agreement and agreed with Feng Yu's words. With someone speaking up for him, Feng Yu felt more confident. He pointed at Zhao Yin'er and said, Zhao Yin'er, you harmed Big Sister Qin. It's good enough that you're allowed to return to the village. In my opinion, a vicious woman like you should be chased out of the village. How dare you be so arrogant now? Lord Li Zheng, you have to do something about it, right? Lu Fugui frowned and was about to say something to help Zhao Yin'er, but Zhao Yin'er said, Feng Yu, do you mean that His Highness colluded with the government to let Qin Hailan take the blame, and then let me, the real murderer, out? Well, isn't that the case? Good, very good. The corners of Zhao Yin'er's mouth suddenly evoked a rather profound smile. What? Feng Yu panicked when she saw Zhao Yin'er's reaction. His Highness, now someone is accusing you of colluding with the government and playing favoritism. How should you deal with it? Zhao Yin'er suddenly turned to Mu Lianfeng and asked. Chapter 387. The so-called exile of 3,000 miles meant that she would be sent to the extremely cold places at the border and be recorded as a slave. Her life there would definitely be more painful than being in prison. In prison, she would be able to get out after a few years or more, just like Qin Hailan. However, if she was exiled for 3,000 miles and was recorded as a slave, there would be no hope for her ever again. She might even die on the road before reaching the border. Feng Yu was so frightened by Mu Lianfeng's words that she trembled. I didn't frame you. Wasn't what I said the truth? The corners of Mu Lianfeng's mouth twitched. Of course, it's up to the authorities to decide whether or not I'm being framed. However, sister-in-law, what you said just now is challenging the authority of the authorities and implying that they're being unfair. After being frightened by Mu Lianfeng, Feng Yu knelt on the ground and began to plead. Your Highness, please let me off. It's all this commoner's fault. I won't dare to speak carelessly in the future. Feng Yu was not a fool. She would really be arrested and sent to the authorities just like that. Regardless of whether Mu Lianfeng colluded with the authorities or not, the authorities would definitely insist on their innocence. How could they allow a commoner like her to speak carelessly? They would only convict her in the end. Mu Lianfeng snorted softly. Everyone has to be responsible for their own words and actions. Since you know that you have said something wrong, then slap yourself a few times and I will consider not pursuing the matter. Okay, Your Highness. As Feng Yu spoke, she began to slap herself. After lightly scratching herself a few times, she asked embarrassedly, Your Highness, please take a look. Is this enough? I asked you to slap yourself, but you're like scratching an itch. Since you're so unwilling, then I'll send you to the authorities. Mu Lianfeng said coldly. Feng Yu saw that Mu Lianfeng was not easy to fool. She gritted her teeth, and could only be more harsh on herself. However, if she hit too hard, it would really hurt. Slap, Feng Yu slapped herself hard. I didn't hear it. Slap, Feng Yu used more strength. I still didn't hear it. Slap. This time, Feng Yu used all his strength. Only then was Mu Lianfeng satisfied. Feng Yu's face was swollen from the slap. After a few slaps, Feng Yu's face turned into a pig's. Mu Lianfeng then let Feng Yu go. Remember to be careful with your words and actions in the future. Don't say anything that you shouldn't say. Otherwise, the consequences will be more serious than this. Mu Lianfeng warned. Yes. Feng Yu was so scared that he quickly responded. However, she wasn't willing to suffer for nothing today. She would definitely get it back in the future. Lu Fugui also stood up and said, Everyone has seen that Feng Yu has been taught a lesson today. It would be best for everyone not to discuss Yun'er's matter and start any rumors. Otherwise, they would be framing the crown prince and framing the Qingming of the government. When the time comes, don't blame me for not warning you if you receive any punishment. As Li Zheng, Lu Fugui had accumulated some aura and authority over the years. The villagers were so scared that they didn't dare to talk about it anymore. If they were really arrested by the government, they would suffer a great loss. Therefore, one by one they agreed, Li Zheng is right. We definitely won't speak carelessly. After dealing with Feng Yu's matter, Zhao Yun'er brought Daodu and Mu Lianfeng to old Zhao's house. Many people followed along to join in the fun. On the way, Zhao Yun'er smiled and said to Mu Lianfeng, You really don't show mercy when you tease people. Mu Lianfeng smiled slightly. Chapter 388. In the past, he had even killed many people, not to mention teasing people like this. Yun'er, if anything happens in the future, I'll be there. Naturally, I won't let anyone bully you. When I come back from the capital, I'll marry you. I know Grandma may not agree, but this time, I'm going to do something for the Emperor. When the time comes, the Emperor will definitely give me some rewards. When the time comes, I'll ask the Emperor for you. With the Emperor's permission, even if Grandma objects, it's useless. Zhao Yun'er didn't know how to respond to Mu Lianfeng. She still felt that Mu Lianfeng saw things too simply. Even if the Emperor granted her a marriage, and she married into the Shitzi manor, would old Madame Mu treat her well? She probably didn't like her no matter how she looked at her. Mu Lianfeng only had one relative. His parents had passed away early. So, he wouldn't do anything that would go against old Madame Mu and make her sad. Zhao Yun'er didn't want to force Mu Lianfeng. She thought that if the two of them were really together, they wouldn't have to go to the Shitzi manor. She would build a big courtyard in the countryside. Mu Lianfeng could come and live there. As for status, this thing was too superficial. What she pursued was the two of them being together, not those dispensable things of formality. If Mu Lianfeng came to live with her, she naturally wouldn't have to deal with old Madame Mu. Mu Lianfeng, if old Madame still doesn't agree, what should we do? Mu Lianfeng was silent for a moment. Yun'er, if Grandma still doesn't agree, worst comes to worst, I'll move out and live with you. From then on, I won't go back to the Shitzi manor. We'll be together as a family. Anyway, except for you, I, Mu Lianfeng, will never marry another woman in this life. Zhao Yun'er didn't expect Mu Lianfeng's answer to be the same as what she thought. It was already very rare for a man, especially a man of such status, to do this for her. Okay, then I'll wait for you. Zhao Yun'er smiled. If you really leave the Shitzi manor and come to my place, I'll take care of you. Zhao Yun'er was both joking and serious. If Mu Lianfeng really left the crown prince's mansion, he would not be able to enjoy the same treatment as the crown prince's mansion. Even his monthly allowance would be confiscated. At that time, Mu Lianfeng might have to consider the problem of survival. Zhao Yun'er thought about it. Her goal now was to raise a son and a man, Mu Lianfeng was amused by Zhao Yuner. Yuner, how can a woman support a man? Don't worry. Even if I leave the crown prince's residence, I'll make sure you and Douda live a good life. Zhao Yuner felt a little sweet in her heart. They soon arrived at old Zhao's house. It was almost time for lunch. Old Zhao's men came back from the field and were resting in the yard. As for the woman, she was busy preparing lunch. Third sister-in-law, what are you doing in the courtyard? The pot is already hot. Why aren't you bringing the dishes in? You haven't finished washing them for half a day. Li Chuiying yelled at Liang Jinxiao. Coming. Liang Jinxiao responded. He carried the dishes in the basin and went to the kitchen. Hua Chunhua was also in the kitchen. She started scolding. Have you been bewitched? You're so absent-minded when doing such a small thing. If you do this again, I'll skin you alive. Liang Jinxiao lowered his head and sighed. Mother, I'm just worried about Yuner. Sigh. Chapter 389. Li Chuiying hurriedly chimed in. That's right, Mother. That B*TCH will be punished by the heavens. I think Zhao Yun probably won't be able to come back. Look at old Fifth. He went to Yang City and hasn't brought back any news yet. Hua Chunhua thought about it and agreed. However, her heart ached for the money her family had spent. After Zhao Yun was taken away, Zhao Wenxing heard the news and rushed back from town. He hurriedly went to Yang City to inquire about the news. Someone in town had a relative who worked in the government, so he wanted to use his connections to get Zhao Yun out. However, using connections like this would definitely cost money, so old Zhao's family took out 20 taels of silver. 20 taels of silver was not a small amount. The family's money was in Hua Chunhua's hands, and Hua Chunhua was unwilling to take it. In the end, Zhao Baoshan had no choice but to use his own savings. Without thinking, Hua Chunhua thought that Zhao Baoshan had hidden his private savings. She started to cry, make a fuss, and threatened to hang herself. She was unwilling to spend so much money on such a little B*TCH. In the end, she was scolded back by Zhao Baoshan, and only then did she shut up. Hua Chunhua had been brooding. She didn't know how long old Zhao's family would spend with 20 taels of silver. Now her plan was ruined. How could she feel comfortable spending it on a useless person? After hearing Hua Chunhua and Li Chuiying's words, Liang Jinxiao frowned and became even more anxious. He was worried that Zhao Yun really wouldn't be able to come back. Just as he was worrying, a voice suddenly sounded from outside. Yun is here. Yun's all right? Second sister, you're back? Seeing that Zhao Yun was back, old Zhao's family had different reactions. Zhao Yun made her feel a little disappointed. Liang Jinxiao hurriedly ran out of the house. Yun, you're finally back. Mother was worried sick. Liang Jinxiao held Zhao Yun's hand and wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes emotionally. A few days after Zhao Yun left, Liang Jinxiao looked much more haggard. He probably couldn't sleep because he was worried about her these past few days. Mother, don't worry. Aren't I back now? It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Liang Jinxiao heaved a sigh of relief. His heart, which had been hanging in the air, was finally at ease. When Liang Jinxiao saw Mu Lianfeng standing behind Zhao Yun, he asked, Yun, did Shitzi help you come back safely this time? Yes. Zhao Yun nodded. Upon hearing this, Liang Jinxiao hurriedly knelt in front of Mu Lianfeng and thanked Mu Lianfeng. Shitzi, it's all thanks to you this time. I can't thank you enough. Mu Lianfeng hurriedly helped Liang Jinxiao up from the ground. Auntie, you're too kind. Yun was innocent in the first place. It was just a small matter. Then I still have to thank Shitzi. All right, Mother, you don't have to be so polite with him. Zhao Yun said with a smile. Hua Chunhua also came out of the house. When she saw Mu Lianfeng, she trembled and was a little scared. This time, Mu Lianfeng was dressed luxuriously. At a glance, she could tell that he was a person of status. She also knew that Mu Lianfeng was Shitzi. Just as Hua Chunhua was about to hide, she suddenly heard a shout. Stop right there. It was Zhao Yun's voice. Hua Chunhua stopped in her tracks and turned around stiffly. You wretched girl, why are you so fierce? Are you trying to scare me to death? Grandmother, what are you afraid of? Is it because you have a guilty conscience that you were frightened by my shout? Chapter 390. Zhao Yin'er hooked her finger at Hu Chunhua and said, "Grandma, shouldn't you return my things to me?" "What things?" "Of course, the things that you took from my house." Zhao Yin'er's voice became colder. Old Zhao's family didn't touch those things after they brought them back. Hu Chunhua was afraid of Mu Lianfeng, so she asked Li Chuiying to take out those things. He placed them in front of Zhao Yin'er and said to Zhao Yin'er, "The things are all here. We didn't take advantage of you. You can count them yourself." Zhao Yin'er took a look and saw that the things were indeed not missing. Then she said, "These are all correct. Where's my Xiaomao?" "Xiaomao? What Xiaomao?" "Of course it's the donkey. Grandma, don't play dumb. Don't tell me that you didn't bring my Xiaomao back." "Ayo, you wretched girl. Aren't you wronging me again? Your Xiaomao ran away by itself. I didn't get it back." Zhao Yin'er frowned. Xiaomao ran away by itself? It was tied up in the wooden shed. How could it run away by itself? Mu Lianfeng saw that he couldn't hide what old Zhao's family did, so he told Zhao Yin'er what happened that day. He didn't want to tell Zhao Yin'er because he didn't want Zhao Yin'er to worry, but now he had to tell her. Zhao Yin'er was furious when she heard it. She didn't expect that old Zhao's family would do such a shameless thing on the day she left. Zhao Yin'er coldly glanced at Hu Chunhua and scolded. How could they do this kind of robbery? How interesting. Uncle Li Zheng, I don't know if you're going to take care of this matter. If you don't, I'll go to the authorities and report it. A two-tailed donkey, and these things will be locked up for at least a year, right? When Hu Chunhua heard this, her legs trembled. He looked at the other members of old Zhao's family for help. Zhao Ping stood up again and began to defend Hu Chunhua. Zhao Yin'er, when did Grandma snatch your things? Aren't all your things here? It's not like you're missing anything. As for your donkey, it grew legs and ran away. Who can you blame? Hu Chunhua also hurriedly replied, Yeah, Ping is right. Who stole your things? Don't slander others. Lu Fugui stood up and sighed. He began to mediate. Yin'er, your family. Let's just forget about this. Your grandmother and the others did go a little overboard that day, but these things are still here. I'll return them to you now. As for your family's donkey, you did run away by yourself. Even if you report it to the authorities, they might not necessarily convict you. So Lu Fugui meant that she should just let it go and not pursue this matter. She was letting old Zhao's family take advantage of this for nothing? Zhao Yin'er couldn't take this lying down. Just as she was thinking about how to vent her anger on old Zhao's family, Mu Lianfeng said indifferently, Since that's the case, we won't pursue this matter. Before this heir apparent left last time, I said that when this heir apparent returned, I would ask for Grandma Zhao's punishment. A faint smile hung on Mu Lianfeng's lips. His sharp gaze landed on Hu Chunhua. Hu Chunhua immediately realized what was going on. She was so frightened that she quickly knelt in front of Mu Lianfeng. Heir apparent, please let me go. I was wrong. Zhao Yin'er had never seen Hu Chunhua so frightened. Chapter 391. One had to know that people like Hu Chunhua weren't afraid of being beaten. Let you off? How can that be? Don't tell me I have to take back what I've said. Where will my dignity be in the future? The people who came to old Zhao's house to watch all knew that Hu Chunhua wanted to eat feces last time. This time, Mu Lianfeng meant that he was going to let Hu Chunhua eat feces again. Everyone held back their laughter and waited to watch the show. Lord Heir, my wife is not sensible. Can you let her off? Zhao Baoshan went forward to plead. It was not that he wanted to protect Hu Chunhua, but old Zhao's family could not afford to lose face like this. They could not let old Zhao's family be mocked for the rest of their lives because of this incident. Let her off. Considering what she did, this punishment is already considered light. You were the ones who suggested this punishment in the first place, Mu Lianfeng said calmly. Zhao Baoshan looked at Zhao Xinhui with disappointment. If it were not for this daughter of his, such an embarrassing incident would not have happened. Zhao Xinhui pursed her lips and turned her head to the side, not daring to look into Zhao Baoshan's eyes. This is all because my daughter is not sensible. She spoke carelessly. Lord Heir, why don't you change the punishment? You've changed the punishment so many times. What you said doesn't count. Then, can I change my words and follow the original punishment method? Mu Lianfeng was talking about sewing Hu Chunhua's mouth with a needle. Hu Chunhua was so frightened that she quickly said, "Lord Heir, you should let me eat feces. Don't sew my mouth." Zhao Baoshan glared at Hu Chunhua again. This old woman was really too useless. Zhao Yun'er choked on Hu Chunhua's words. She looked at Mu Lianfeng with a stunned expression. Eat feces? Did she hear wrongly? Let Hu Chunhua eat shit. Mu Lianfeng saw Zhao Yun'er looking at him, and smiled gently at Zhao Yun'er. What's wrong? Yun'er. Mu Lianfeng. I'm more curious about what happened after I left that day. Why did Mu Lianfeng punish Hu Chunhua to eat shit? Could it be that Mu Lianfeng had such a strong taste? She couldn't tell. Mu Lianfeng's smile widened. Seeing Zhao Yun'er's curious expression, and the way she was sizing him up, he was afraid that Zhao Yun'er would misunderstand him. So he told her what happened that day. After Zhao Yun'er heard this, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. This Zhao Xinhui was definitely the most deceitful person she had ever met. He could even come up with such a rotten idea. Hu Chunhua had doted on her daughter like a treasure for so many years, but now it seemed that all her love was in vain. Zhao Xinhui didn't care at all. If you eat shit, then don't stay in our old Zhao's house anymore. Old Zhao's family doesn't have such an embarrassing person. Zhao Baoshan said harshly again. Today he really made up his mind. If Hu Chunhua did such an embarrassing thing, he would divorce her. He would chase Hu Chunhua back to her parents' house. This way, old Zhao's family wouldn't be laughed at so badly. You old man, then what do you think we should do? Let the air sew my mouth. Then I'll probably die of pain. In any case, I've served you for most of my life. Why are you so cruel to me? Hu Chunhua sat on the ground and wailed like a ghost. Although Zhao Yun'er wanted to see Hu Chunhua suffer and punish this old woman, the way she ate shit was too strong. Isn't it all your fault? Looking for trouble when you have nothing to do. You just want to pick on Yun'er. Otherwise, how could you offend the heir? You asked for it. Zhao Baoshan coldly snorted. Chapter 392. Hu Chunhua pursed her lips at Zhao Baoshan's scolding. If she had known that Zhao Yun'er was backed by the heir, she wouldn't have dared to cause trouble even if she was beaten to death. Old man, what's the point of saying this now? Hu Chunhua retorted. If you want to get away, why don't you go and beg Yin? Who knows? Maybe the heir will let you off if she forgives you. After Zhao Baoshan finished speaking, Hu Chunhua looked at Zhao Yun'er and then at Mu Lianfeng. Mu Lianfeng smiled and said, That's right. If Yun'er forgives you, I can consider letting you off. Mu Lianfeng still wanted to let Zhao Yun'er have the initiative in this matter. Zhao Yun'er's idea of torturing people was definitely better than his. Hu Chunhua looked at Zhao Yun'er and said, Yun'er, you're also from our hometown. You can't just watch your grandmother be humiliated like this, right? People will laugh at our family. In the future, your sister and 2 younger brothers' marriages will also be affected. Hu Chunhua started to play the emotional card. She knew that it was useless to force Zhao Yun'er to do this. Hu Chunhua was considered smart. When she said this, Zhao Yun'er carefully considered it. She didn't care about Zhao Ping'er, whether she got married or not had nothing to do with her. However, she had 2 younger brothers. Zhao Yun'er didn't want old Zhao's reputation to affect them. This time, she only wanted to teach Hu Chunhua a lesson for a moment of pleasure. After she taught her a lesson, old Zhao's scandal would spread quickly. Zhao Yun'er thought about it. Why not use this opportunity to do something else? Grandma, I've already separated from the family. Your old Zhao's matters have nothing to do with me. Other people's matters have nothing to do with me either. I don't need to worry about this. You heartless person. How can you be so cruel to your grandmother and family? Hu Chunhua started to wail and howl again. Zhao Baoshan frowned. Looking at Zhao Yun'er, he knew that she wasn't going to let Hu Chunhua off. He sighed slightly and signaled Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao with his eyes. Zhao Wenhua didn't want to persuade Zhao Yun'er, but he was afraid that Zhao Baoshan and Hu Chunhua would cause trouble for him again. Thus he said, Yun'er, forget it. Your grandmother knows her mistake. She definitely won't cause trouble at your place again. Zhao Yun'er glanced at Zhao Wenhua. Why was her father so cowardly? He was speaking up for old Zhao's family again. She won't do it again? I don't know how many times grandma has caused trouble, but she never changes. Who knows if she'll do it again next time? Yin, can you promise me that you won't do it again in front of everyone in the village? Zhao Baoshan asked embarrassedly. Zhao Yin pretended to be conflicted. Actually, it's not impossible, but you have to promise me one more thing. Yin, tell us. If we can do it, we'll definitely agree, Zhao Baoshan agreed. Hua Chunhua also quickly agreed. That's right. As long as Master Heir Presumptive lets me off, Yin, you can ask for anything. We'll definitely do it if we can. Just don't let her eat sh*t in front of so many people. Zhao Yin smirked. You can definitely do it. My request is to split up the family. My parents and 3 branches will be separated from old Zhao's family. You have to give them everything that belongs to the family. As for the other branches, it's up to you whether you want to split them or not. Chapter 393. They never thought that Zhao Yin would suggest this. Let the 3rd branch separate? Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were even more stunned. It wasn't that the 3rd branch hadn't thought of separating, but they didn't dare to mention it to Hua Chunhua and Zhao Baoshan in the past. Now Zhao Yin helped them bring it up. If they could separate this time, the 3rd branch was naturally willing, so they didn't say anything. First, they would listen to how Zhao Baoshan, Hua Chunhua, and the rest of old Zhao's family would respond. Zhao Yin had always hoped that her parents could separate from old Zhao's family, but unfortunately, she didn't have the chance. With her parents' temperaments, they didn't dare to make a fuss, and separating wasn't an easy matter. This time, if they could change the troublesome Hua Chunhua into the 3rd branch, it would be worth it. Seeing that old Zhao's family didn't say anything, Zhao Yin raised her eyebrows. Grandfather, grandmother, you don't agree, right? Then forget it. Let's just stick to the previous punishment. Zhao Baoshan hurriedly waved his hand, frowned, and said in a deep voice, Yin girl, are you really going to let your parents separate? It won't be good for them to separate. Tianfu still needs to go to school. If they separate, old Zhao's family won't provide for him. Grandfather, you don't have to worry about this. If the 3rd branch separates, old Zhao's family won't pay for Tianfu's school fees. It was only a few taels of silver a year. Zhao Yin believed that she could earn enough to provide for Zhao Tianfu. After hearing Zhao Yin's words, the rest of old Zhao's family had no reason to object. If the 3rd branch separates, there would still be a sum of money left over from Zhao Tianfu's school fees. Old man, let's separate. Let the 3rd branch move out. Anyway, we have a lot of people. It's fine even without the 3rd branch. Hua Chunhua hurriedly urged. She was afraid that if Zhao Baoshan did not agree, Mu Lianfeng would make her eat sh*t. That's right, father. Let the 3rd branch move out. Use the money from Tianfu province for my Tianyu studies. Li Chuiying hurriedly said. Old Zhao's family had a good plan. No matter how good Zhao Yin's life was, she wouldn't help the 3rd branch, so old Zhao's family couldn't benefit from it. On the other hand, Zhao Tianlong would definitely be able to pass the high scholar examination after this trip to the capital city. Old Zhao's family would also be able to achieve meteoric success. The 3rd branch could only wait to regret it. Once they moved out, old Zhao's family's good days would no longer have anything to do with the 3rd branch. Zhao Baoshan was unwilling to move out. They were a good family with 2 elders still around. There was no reason to move out. What he was most afraid of was that if the 3rd branch moved out, the other branches of the 1st and 2nd branch would also make a fuss about moving out. However, if they didn't move out and didn't agree to Zhao Yin's request, would they really let Hua Chunhua eat sh*t and embarrass herself? Zhao Yin was a little impatient. If you don't agree, then forget it. I don't have that much time to waste with you. Okay. Of course it's okay. Yin girl, don't be anxious. Hua Chunhua hurriedly said and then poked Zhao Baoshan. Old man, hurry up and say something. Otherwise I'll eat sh*t. Hey, 3rd brother, 3rd brother's wife, what are you thinking? Do you want to move out? Zhao Baoshan sighed and looked at Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao. Being called out by Zhao Baoshan, Zhao Tianhua didn't know what to say. If he said that he wanted to move out, wouldn't he hurt his parents' feelings? Father, Chapter 394. In the past few years, Liang Jinxiao didn't have the opportunity to help Zhao Yin, because the third branch hadn't been separated. Everything belonged to old Zhao's family, and wasn't something they could use as they wished. Every time they gave something, they had to be sneaky, as if they were thieves. If the third branch didn't seize the opportunity this time, it wouldn't be so easy to separate in the future. Zhao Baoshan looked deeply at Liang Jinxiao. Third brother's wife was usually soft-hearted, but now she actually said such words. Since third brother's wife has said so, I have no reason to not separate. Then the third branch will be separated from our old Zhao's family today. Zhao Baoshan finally relented, but his expression was a little lonely. Just as he was about to talk about how the third branch would be separated, Feng Zhangxia suddenly asked, Yin is Daodu really your son? When Feng Zhangxia said this, old Zhao's family finally reacted. If Daodu was the son of young Master Shitzi, then the third branch would be at a disadvantage if they were separated. It was naturally good to have a little relationship with young Master Shitzi. Zhao Yin'er's eyes flashed with a touch of complexity. Feng Zhangxia deliberately asked this, probably because she had some ulterior motives. Of course not. If he was young Master Shitzi's son, would I have suffered these 3 years? Feng Zhangxia thought about it and agreed. If he was young Master Shitzi's son, would Zhao Yin'er still come back to the countryside? Mu Lianfeng probably said it casually that day to take Daodu away. Okay, there's no need to ask about other things. Let's talk about the separation first. Zhao Baoshan brought the matter to the main topic. He was a little afraid that Daodu's identity would be discovered. Okay. Old Zhao's family responded. Coincidentally, Li Zheng was present today. There were many villagers who came as well. With Li Zheng as a witness, there would be no disputes after the family split. Old Zhao's family didn't have many things. After some discussion, they decided to give the third branch 1 mu of paddy field and 1 mu of dry land. As for the rooms, the third bedroom would still be in the original one, but the kitchen would have to be rebuilt. As for the money, Hua Chunhua gritted her teeth and took out 800 copper coins and gave it to the third branch. The money was enough for the third branch for a while. Old Zhao's family also got some of the food. The third branch was satisfied with this result. At least with so many things, they could support old Zhao's family for a while. The most important thing was that they could move away from old Zhao's A-class family. Yin'er, look, we've already broken up with this family. Can we just forget about your grandmother? Zhao Baoshan asked. Zhao Yin'er nodded. Then let's forget about it. But it doesn't mean that we'll forget about it the next time. I know, Yin'er. Your grandmother won't go to your place to make trouble if she has nothing to do. Okay. Zhao Yin'er responded faintly. Seeing that Zhao Yin'er and Mu Lianfeng had left, Hua Chunhua was sure that she was safe. She heaved a sigh of relief and sat down on the ground. Mother, what's the matter? Li Chuiying went up and asked politely. Zhao Xinhui also put on a rare act. He went up to Hua Chunhua and asked her with concern. Mother, what's wrong with you? They've already left. Why are you still so scared? Hua Chunhua waved her hand. You silly girl, you don't know. My legs are still weak. Hurry up and help me up. Chapter 395. The last time she came back, Zhao Xinhui was severely scolded by Zhao Baoshan. Zhao Baoshan scolded her for being heartless and making her own mother eat tea. Zhao Xinhui was worried that Zhao Baoshan was in a bad mood today, and that she would be scolded again. So she hurriedly pretended to be concerned about Hua Chunhua. When Zhao Xinhui approached Hua Chunhua, she smelled the stench of urine and couldn't help but frown. Zhao Xinhui frowned and hurriedly let go of Hua Chunhua. There was a hint of disdain in her voice. Mother, have you not bathed in a long time? Why do you still smell like urine? Hua Chunhua stretched her nose and sniffed. She asked, really? I just bathed the day before yesterday. How can I smell like urine again? Did you not wash yourself clean? How can that be? If you didn't wash yourself clean, it means that you didn't wipe off the dust on your body. It's impossible that you can't get rid of the smell of urine. But mother, you smell it on your body. Second sister-in-law smell it. Li Chuiying leaned over and sniffed. Mother, it does smell a little stinky. Hua Chunhua was puzzled. What was going on? Let's not talk about this for now. Second sister-in-law, hurry and help me up. Li Chuiying endured the stench of urine and helped Hu Chunhua up. Just as he helped Hu Chunhua up, Zhao Xinhui exclaimed, "Mother, you peed in your pants." Li Chuiying also looked at Hu Chunhua's butt and found that it was wet. There was a wet mark next to Hu Chunhua's butt. It was obvious that she had urinated. No wonder Hu Chunhua smelled like urine. It turned out to be because of this. I peed in my pants. Hu Chunhua opened her mouth. She was also a little surprised. How could she have peed in her pants? Her daughter's voice was so loud that everyone heard it. The villagers who were about to leave couldn't help but cover their mouths and laugh when they heard Zhao Xinhui's words. This old woman was so old, but she still peed in her pants. How could she be so useless? Mother, why don't you see it yourself? Your pants are so wet. Zhao Xinhui complained. Hu Chunhua touched her butt and found it was indeed wet. She was probably too scared and didn't even know that she peed in her pants. Hu Chunhua felt very embarrassed for a moment. Hearing the laughter coming from all directions, she felt even more embarrassed. If it wasn't for her daughter shouting so loudly, they wouldn't have found out. Now she had lost a lot of face. Huier, don't shout so loudly next time. It'll be so embarrassing if other people find out. Zhao Xinhui curled her lips. I know, Mother. I shouted out in a moment of excitement. Your hand touched my pants. Don't touch me, Zhao Xinhui said and moved away immediately. The more Zhao Baoshan looked at Zhao Xinhui, the more he disliked her. How could he raise such a heartless girl? He didn't know whether Zhao Xinhui was mentally retarded or not. She didn't know what she should do and what she shouldn't do. Father, I'll go and see if Yuner needs any help. I'll go and help her, Zhao Xinhui said to Zhao Baoshan. It was rare to see Zhao Xinhui being so sensible. It would be good for her to help Zhao Yuner, so Zhao Baoshan nodded. Go ahead. Sure. Zhao Xinhui ran away excitedly. Chapter 396. However, Zhao Xinhui's intention was not to help Zhao Yuner. Instead, she wanted to take the opportunity to get close to Mu Lianfeng. If she didn't find more opportunities to hang out in front of Mu Lianfeng, how could Mu Lianfeng remember her? Zhao Ping saw through Zhao Xinhui's thoughts and hurriedly caught up with Zhao Xinhui's footsteps. Master, I'll also go and help Yuner. Seeing these two people who were usually as lazy as maggots suddenly say such words, Zhao Baoshan couldn't help but shake his head. He felt that it was really strange. Zhao Yuner and Mu Lianfeng returned to Zhao Yuner's dilapidated house. Everything in the house had been rummaged through, so it was a bit messy. She had to tidy it up again. Looking at the original vegetable garden that had been ruined, Zhao Yuner felt an indescribable heartache. Not only had some of the vegetables been pulled out, but chickens and ducks had also been put in. The leaves of the vegetables that had just sprouted were riddled with holes. Although these vegetables weren't worth much, they were Zhao Yuner's painstaking efforts after all. After working so hard for so many days, the things were ruined. She definitely felt bad. Zhao Yuner first went to the house to tidy it up. She arranged everything neatly, then took a broom and swept it inside and out again. Yuner, I'll go and fetch water for you, Mu Lianfeng said. There was no water in the water tank at home. Wiping the table and wiping the stove required water. Mu Lianfeng went out to fetch water. At this time, the third branch was also busy dividing and cleaning things in old Zhao's house. Her two younger brothers didn't come over. Otherwise, Zhao Tianan would definitely help her carry water. Zhao Yuner was a woman, so it was still a bit difficult for her to carry water back. Seeing Mu Lianfeng bring it up, Zhao Yuner said, Mu Lianfeng, you don't know where the river is. Let me go. It's okay. Dao can take me there. This kind of work is supposed to be done by a man. Seeing Mu Lianfeng insist, Zhao Yuner smiled and said, Then you go. Let Dao take you. Yes. Zhao Yuner was worried. Mu Lianfeng had been pampered for so many years. Would he know how to do this kind of rough work? Although carrying water wasn't a difficult task, if it wasn't done well, it would be quite strenuous. If it wasn't done well, it would be easy for the water to splash onto himself. Daddy, let's go. Dao ran ahead excitedly. At this moment, Dao couldn't wait to drag Mu Lianfeng to stroll around the village and show everyone that he also had a daddy. And such a tall and his daddy. Yes. Mu Lianfeng carried 2 buckets of water and began to walk out of the door. When Zhao Yun saw Mu Lianfeng carrying buckets of water, she felt that he was a bit out of place. Mu Lianfeng's temperament was really too good. He didn't look like someone who would do this kind of rough work in the countryside. This kind of work should be done by the mountain men in the countryside. Mu Lianfeng seemed to feel Zhao Yun's scorching gaze. After walking a few steps, he turned around and asked, "Yun'er, why are you looking at me like that?" Zhao Yun'er smiled and said, "Nothing. I just think that you look a little funny." "Funny? Is that so?" Mu Lianfeng raised his eyebrows. "Yes, a little. Haha. It's because this heir also looks very handsome when carrying buckets of water, right?" Mu Lianfeng said somewhat narcissistically. Zhao Yun'er knew that Mu Lianfeng was just joking with her. She still rolled her eyes and said, "Narcissist." Mu Lianfeng's laughter became louder. He felt that joking with Zhao Yun'er actually brought the two of them closer. Only people who were familiar with each other would do this, right? Chapter 397. Mu Lianfeng had only taken a few steps when he heard Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping's voices behind him. The two of them greeted Mu Lianfeng in a flattering manner. "Lord Heir." Mu Lianfeng stopped in his tracks and raised his eyebrows. "What can I do for you two ladies?" His voice was mild. He wanted to see if Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping were here to cause trouble for Zhao Yun'er. Zhao Xinhui pinched her handkerchief and bashfully looked at Mu Lianfeng. "Lord Heir, why are you carrying a bucket of water? Who wants to carry water? Do you need my help?" Zhao Ping was unwilling to be left behind. That's right. Lord Heir, is there anything you need our help with? The two of us can help you together." Zhao Xinhui was displeased to see Zhao Ping being so attentive in front of Mu Lianfeng. She thought that an ugly woman like Zhao Ping had the nerve to stroll in front of Mu Lianfeng. Wasn't she afraid of disgusting him? "Help me." Mu Lianfeng chuckled, and there was an additional look in his eyes. Zhao Yun'er walked out and stood to the side. When she saw Zhao Ping and Zhao Xinhui acting like this, she couldn't help but roll her eyes. These two women were really interesting. Both of them were trying to curry favor with Mu Lianfeng. They must be up to no good. That's right. Lord Heir, it looks like you're really carrying water. How can a person of your status do this kind of work? Zhao Yun is really too much. She doesn't know the rules at all. Zhao Xinhui complained and then glanced at Zhao Yun'er angrily. Zhao Yun only found it a little ridiculous. She couldn't be bothered to bicker with Zhao Xinhui and wanted to see what she would say next. "This lord is a man. It's understandable that I'm helping Yun'er do some work. If the two ladies don't have anything else, then this lord will take his leave." Seeing that Mu Lianfeng was about to leave, Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping hurriedly chased after him. "Lord Heir, let us help you." As Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping spoke, the two of them each took one of the wooden buckets that Mu Lian was carrying. "Since the two ladies are so enthusiastic, then I'll leave the task of carrying water to the two of you. This Lord Heir will go back and rest first." Mu Lianfeng curved the corners of his mouth and smiled magnificently. He didn't forget to add, "I might need a little more water, so I'll have to trouble the two ladies to make a few more trips." After Mu Lianfeng finished speaking, Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping were all stunned. Mu Lianfeng meant that the two of them should go, and that he wouldn't go alone. But by offering to help, they wanted to hang out in front of Mu Lianfeng. Zhao Xinhui pursed her lips and said, "Lord Heir, you're really not going? Didn't the two ladies say that they wanted to help? Each of you is carrying a bucket. What can this Lord Heir do to help? Or are the two ladies unwilling to help?" Zhao Xinhui hurriedly waved her hand. "No, Lord Heir, I didn't mean that. You're the Lord Heir. Naturally you should rest. Then the two ladies can go and carry water." Oh, okay." Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping reluctantly walked towards the river. They really didn't manage to hook up with Mu Lianfeng. Instead they had to work. How tiring would it be to carry water? Just one trip was enough, and they had to make a few more. Seeing that Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping had left, a sly look flashed across Mu Lianfeng's eyes. Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but ask, You're really letting them carry water? Chapter 398. Zhao Yin'er also smiled. She knew that Mu Lianfeng was teasing Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping'er. Now Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping'er didn't end up well with Mu Lianfeng. Instead, they were sent to work by Mu Lianfeng. She was very curious. If Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping'er found out the truth, how much trauma would they feel in their hearts? As for Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping'er, because of Zhao Yin'er, Mu Lianfeng also somewhat disliked these two people. Just making them work was already the lightest punishment. Of course, Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping'er should be glad that they didn't do anything too excessive to Zhao Yin'er. Otherwise, Mu Lianfeng, I realized that you weren't like this in the past. Or should I say, I know too little about you? Zhao Yin'er said with a smile. In the past, Mu Lianfeng's image in front of Zhao Yin'er was that of a serious and proper man. Now, she felt that Mu Lianfeng was somewhat two-faced. Zhao Yin'er didn't know if she could continue to interact with Mu Lianfeng. What else could she discover about Mu Lianfeng that was different from the image in her heart? Yin'er, maybe you don't know me well enough. There's still a long way to go. You will have a deeper understanding of what kind of person I am. Mu Lianfeng smiled slightly, revealing a charming smile. Zhao Yin'er hurriedly turned her head. She was afraid that if she looked at Mu Lianfeng again, she would be fascinated by him. Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping'er walked towards the river in the village. Halfway there, Zhao Xinhui directly handed the wooden bucket in her hand to Zhao Ping'er and said to Zhao Ping'er, help me hold it. Zhao Ping'er frowned and said reluctantly, Auntie, you have hands. Why do you want me to hold it? Why do you talk so much nonsense when I'm asking you to hold it for me? My hands are tired from carrying it. It's so sore. Zhao Xinhui put the wooden bucket on the ground and rubbed her wrists. For so long, Zhao Xinhui was a person who didn't do household chores. She couldn't even bear to do a little work. So she found it difficult to carry a wooden bucket that weighed a few kilograms. Seeing Zhao Xinhui like this, Zhao was her auntie. Her sister-in-law was really too much. She only knew how to bully her and push all the work to her. She clearly didn't have the life of an eldest miss, but she liked to do things that only an eldest miss would do. Wasn't it difficult for her to carry the wooden bucket? Now she was carrying 2 wooden buckets. Would her auntie make her carry 2 buckets of water by herself when they came back later? She wasn't a man and didn't have that much strength. Why are you still in a daze? Why aren't you moving? Zhao Xinhui urged unhappily and said to Zhao Ping'er. She was so dazed that it was annoying to look at her. Zhao Ping'er then reluctantly lifted Zhao Xinhui's wooden bucket. The sooner we bring the water back, the sooner we can talk to Master Shitzi. Do you understand? Zhao Xinhui whispered to Zhao Ping'er. Zhao Ping'er was instantly energized when she heard Zhao Xinhui's words. Auntie, you're right. We should bring the water back as soon as possible. Chapter 399. Zhao Xinhui touched her own face as she spoke. Her face was what she was most satisfied with. If a woman had a beautiful face, she would have capital. She wouldn't have to worry about not being able to hook up with rich men. Aunt, how can you say that about me? Zhao Ping'er complained sadly. Zhao Ping'er didn't feel anything before Zhao Xinhui mentioned it, but Zhao Ping'er remembered Lu San's reaction when he hugged her and saw her face. Was it destined that no man would like her just because she was ugly? In fact, if she didn't have the birthmark on her face, she would be very ugly too. I didn't say anything wrong. Zhao Ping'er, you're ugly. You're probably the ugliest woman in our village. Zhao Xinhui said directly. She didn't care about Zhao Ping'er's feelings at all. Zhao Ping'er was even sadder. It was fine if they said she was ugly, but now they directly defined her as the ugliest woman in the village. How could she accept it? She couldn't help but mutter. Aunt, I'm not the ugliest woman in the village. Jinhua is the ugliest woman in the village. Jinhua's appearance appeared in Zhao Xinhui's mind. She was really fat and strong. Most importantly, her face was full of pockmarks. Just thinking about it made her feel disgusted. She frowned and said, Then you're the second ugliest woman in our village. Jinhua is the ugliest. It was a bad comment, but Zhao Xinhui was happy to hear it. Aunt, I told you. I'm not the ugliest woman in the village. Zhao Ping'er said with a smile. Zhao Xinhui rolled her eyes in her heart. So what? She was still ugly. Aunt Jinhua is the ugliest woman in our village. If she can get married, I'm sure I can get married in the future too. Zhao Ping'er began to comfort herself. She couldn't be an old woman who couldn't get married for the rest of her life, right? Wouldn't he be laughed to death by others? Haha, Zhao Ping'er, you're really interesting. Golden Flower can get married. But why don't you see what kind of man she married? If you marry that kind of man, you can do it too. But he's probably a fool, a cripple. And you can even receive a sum of money from him. Do you want me to ask my mother to introduce them to you? No. I don't want to marry a cripple. Then who do you want to marry? Like the crown prince? After being questioned by Zhao Xinhui, Zhao Ping'er fell silent. She really wanted to marry a man like the crown prince. Every woman wants to marry a rich and handsome man. Zhao Ping'er, stop dreaming. If the crown prince likes you, then I can only say that he is blind. Alright, stop talking. Let's go. Oh, Zhao Ping'er replied weakly. She felt that she was beaten black and blue by Zhao Xinhui. She couldn't help but think of her face and think of ways to make her face more beautiful. Zhao Yin'er tidied up the things and finally tidied up properly. Yin'er girl. It was Aunt Lu's voice. After going through the treatment for the past few days, Uncle Lu's condition had almost recovered. He was recuperating at home for the past few days. Zhao Yin'er came out and saw Auntie Lu. Behind Auntie Lu was Xiao Mao. Zhao Yin'er was pleasantly surprised. Aunt Lu, didn't you say that Xiao Mao ran away by itself? Why? Chapter 400. Auntie Lu smiled and said, that day, Xiao Mao did run away, but it wandered around and finally came to my door. Shanzi knew what happened to your family, so he tied Xiao Mao up in my cowshed. No one else knew. When I heard that you were back, I sent Xiao Mao over to you. After listening to Auntie Lu's explanation, Zhao Yin'er finally understood. Xiao Mao, this beast, was really smart. It didn't run anywhere else. It knew that Auntie Lu's place was safe, so it ran to Auntie Lu's place. Auntie Lu, thank you. I thought our family's Xiao Mao was lost. Zhao Yin'er said gratefully. Such a smart little beast. Zhao Yin'er probably couldn't buy it no matter how much money she spent. What are you thanking me for? It's your family's Xiao Mao that's smart. Haha. I heard that Xiao Mao did something earth-shattering. Zhao Yin'er was curious about what earth-shattering thing Xiao Mao did. Seeing that Zhao Yin'er was curious, she guessed that she didn't know. So Auntie Lu told Zhao Yin. When Zhao Yin'er heard, she covered her mouth and couldn't help but laugh. Xiao Mao actually bullied Hu Chunhua. Zhao Yin'er stroked Xiao Mao's fur and praised Xiao Mao. Xiao Mao, I didn't expect you to be so smart. You really did a good job. I'll cook some meat for you to eat later. In the face of Zhao Yin'er's praise, Xiao Mao proudly raised its head. Auntie Lu couldn't help but laugh. Haha. Your family's little donkey is really interesting. It's really different from ordinary beasts. Of course, the one I raised is definitely different. Zhao Yin'er was also rarely narcissistic. Yin'er girl, and your family's Xiao Hei. Auntie Lu said as she handed the little puppy in her arms to Zhao Yin'er. It's Xiao Hei. Zhao Yin'er said with some surprise. He was only thinking about Xiao Mao, and had almost forgotten about Xiao Hei. Little Hei was still small, so Hu Chunhua didn't have any ideas about it. After all, such a small puppy couldn't make dog meat hot pot. Zhao Yin'er took little Hei from Auntie Lu's hands. Auntie Lu is lucky that you are taking care of her. Otherwise, little Hei would definitely starve to death. Humans would definitely collapse from hunger if they did not eat for a few days, and dogs would naturally be the same. Aunt Lu smiled and said, that's not true. If it wasn't in my house, Xiao Hei wouldn't have starved to death. In this day and age, other animals might starve to death but not dogs. Dogs can eat human feces and pig feces. These things are everywhere in the village. When Auntie Lu said that, Zhao Yin'er felt disgusted. She stared at Little Black and pursed her lips. Auntie Lu, my Little Black, hasn't eaten shit in the past few days, right? Auntie Lu was stunned at first, then she smiled and said, No, of course not. Your family Xiao Hei has food to eat. How can he go back and eat shit? But that big dog of mine doesn't give him milk to drink. so he's been eating thin porridge these past few days. Sometimes there's some soup in the thin porridge. Luckily, Xiaohei isn't picky. Zhao Yun'er then nodded in relief. That's good. When she turned back, she still had to keep an eye on Xiaohei. She mustn't let him learn from other dogs and eat shit. Although this was a dog's nature, Zhao Yun'er couldn't accept it. Otherwise, she would have to think carefully about hugging Xiaohei when she turned back. Xiaohei went into Zhao Yun'er's arms, and his eyes instantly lit up. Woof woof woof, he barked at Zhao Yun'er twice, his little tail wagging around, looking very cute. Chapter 401. Yes, I didn't dote on it for nothing. Zhao Yun'er patted Blackie's little head as she spoke. It was so furry, so comfortable to hold in her hands. As for Xiaomao, Zhao Yun'er brought it back to the wooden shed. Aunt Lu, how's Uncle Lu's illness? Zhao Yun'er asked with concern. He's much better now. The doctor gave him a few doses of medicine. He should be fine after taking them. Yun'er girl, I still have to thank you for this matter. If you didn't sell the bullfrogs, we wouldn't have the money to treat him. Speaking of selling the bullfrogs, Zhao Yun'er felt a little sorry for Aunt Lu. She didn't know how to say it, but she couldn't not say it. After hesitating for a while, Zhao Yun'er said to Aunt Lu, Aunt Lu, Brother Shanzi doesn't have to buy bullfrogs anymore. I won't do the restaurant business anymore. Aunt Lu also knew that Zhao Yun'er's accident this time had something to do with the restaurant. Zhao Yun'er must have her reasons for not doing it. So she nodded and said, Yun'er, it's okay. The money we earned before is almost enough to treat your Uncle Lu's illness. That's good. Yun'er, don't worry. Just take care of yourself. Our family can handle it. Yes. Then Yun'er, I'll leave first. If there's anything, just call me. Okay, Aunt Lu. Take care. Okay. After Aunt Lu left, Zhao Yun'er handed Xiaohei to Daodu. After not seeing Xiaohei for a few days, Daodu missed him very much. He held him in his hands and stroked him non-stop. Xiaohei also licked Daodu's little hands. When Xiaomao saw the interaction between Xiaohei and Daodu, it couldn't help but feel jealous. It kept barking at Xiaohei and Daodu. Zhao Yun'er caught a glimpse of Xiaomao's movements and patted Daodu's head. Daodu, Xiaomao is jealous. Don't always play with Xiaohei. Bring Xiaomao along too. Daodu came back to his senses and nodded. Okay, mother, I'll go now. After Daodu ran away, only Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng were left. Zhao Yun'er smiled and said, I'm going to make lunch. Mu Lianfeng, are you hungry? Mu Lianfeng shook his head. I'm fine. I'm not that hungry. You still have to do it. It's already past mealtime. I'll help you. All right. The two of them entered the kitchen together and worked together. One of them was cooking at the stove, while the other was tending to the fire below. Not long after, white smoke rose from the stove, and the kitchen was filled with smoke. When they returned from the heir presumptive's residence, they had prepared some food. There were cured meat, salted fish, and some sweets and pastries. Zhao Yun'er made do with some stir-fried cured meat for lunch, and pulled out a handful of leftover cabbage from the vegetable garden. Then she steamed a pot of fragrant rice. It was steaming hot and fragrant. Zhao Yun'er was preparing to cook when she turned around and bumped into Mu Lianfeng. When did he run behind her? Yun'er, are you okay? Mu Lianfeng asked nervously. Zhao Yun'er shook her head. I'm fine. Fortunately, she didn't bump into him too hard. However, Mu Lianfeng's chest was too hard. She was afraid that she might have hurt his wound. Seeing that Mu Lianfeng didn't react, she assumed that he was fine. Yun'er. Mu Lianfeng suddenly pulled Zhao Yun'er into his arms. In the low-ceilinged kitchen, Zhao Yun'er felt that the space had become smaller. Her nose was filled with Mu Lianfeng's scent. Chapter 402. Mu Lianfeng, what are you doing? Zhao Yun'er asked softly. Nothing, Yun'er. I just want to hug you. I'm leaving in the afternoon, so I might be separated from you for a while. I'll miss you. Will you miss me? Zhao Yun'er didn't know how to answer Mu Lianfeng's question. Would she miss him? It might be. However, other than her father, she had never thought of any other man in her life. I don't know. Zhao Yun'er answered honestly. Yun'er, you won't miss me? Mu Lianfeng was a little disappointed. You haven't left yet. How would I know if I'll miss you? But no matter if I miss you or not, you should come back soon. Zhao Yin'er mumbled. Don't worry. I'll come back as soon as possible. When I come back, we'll be together. Okay. Zhao Yin'er answered softly. Just as the two of them were hugging, Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping's voices suddenly came from outside the door. When Zhao Xinhui and Zhao Ping saw Mu Lianfeng and Zhao Yin'er hugging each other, they bit their chins hard. Zhao Xinhui rushed in and started scolding Zhao Yin'er. Zhao Yin'er, it's broad daylight. You're seducing a man and hugging a man. Aren't you too shameless? The originally good atmosphere was ruined by Zhao Xinhui. Mu Lianfeng frowned in disgust. Zhao Yin'er was naturally embarrassed to be seen by others. She quickly separated from Mu Lianfeng. She cleared her throat and replied unhappily. What does it have to do with you? Well, Zhao Yin'er, you're still so arrogant after doing such a shameless thing. Don't you have any shame? I've never seen a woman like you. Zhao Xinhui started to clamor again. Zhao Yin'er looked at Zhao Xinhui's reaction. She was obviously mad with jealousy when she saw her with Mu Lianfeng. Now she was deliberately condemning her. Damn it, did she really think she was easy to bully? Zhao Yin'er stared at Zhao Ping'er and chuckled. I'm shameless. I think you're the shameless one, aren't you? You can't wait to stick to a man whenever you see him. I don't see you being so attentive. Now you're asking me to help you? Aren't you just trying to get close to His Highness? After being exposed by Zhao Yin'er, Zhao Xinhui felt guilty and blushed. However, she still replied unwillingly. What's wrong with me helping His Highness? How could a person like her help you with your work? Zhao Yin'er, what kind of charm did you use to seduce you? Let me tell you, you should know your place. You've already given birth to a child. You're no longer a virgin. Don't do anything that will embarrass our old Zhao family. Zhao Yin'er's smile became colder. It was really interesting. Zhao Xinhui, please get this straight. You're the one who seduced him. You're the one who acted indecently, yet you're talking about others. Where's your shame? Zhao Yin'er retorted. Saying that I'm no longer a virgin is better than saying that you're staying at home and can't get married. If you want to talk about knowing your place, you have the nerve to say it to others. Why don't you say it to yourself? Do you think you're good enough for you? Zhao Xinhui was driven mad by Zhao Yin'er's words. Zhao Yin'er, this be *tch. She had to kill her. Hence, she threw down the bucket in her hand and rushed towards Zhao Yin'er. Chapter 403. Seeing Zhao Xinhui rushing over, Mu Lianfeng was originally going to help Zhao Yin'er, but Zhao Yin'er pushed him away. She did not want to hide behind Mu Lianfeng and become a little woman protected by a man. Moreover, she could deal with such a small matter. Dealing with Zhao Xinhui was not a problem at all. When Zhao Xinhui rushed in front of Zhao Yin'er calmly moved aside. Zhao Xinhui immediately bumped into Zhao Yin'er's kitchen stove. Her stomach was hit hard, and it was extremely painful. Zhao Xinhui gritted her teeth and fell to the ground, crying out in pain. Ouch, it hurts so much. I can't take it anymore. Zhao Ping'er watched from the side. She had no intention of helping Zhao Xinhui. Instead, she covered her mouth and snuck a peek. Her aunt had scolded her and said that she was ugly just now. Great, now she had also learned her lesson. The more Zhao Xinhui screamed, the happier Zhao Ping'er felt. Zhao Yin'er looked at Zhao Xinhui, who was squatting on the ground. She did not have any intention of softening her heart. Instead, she directly lifted Zhao Xinhui up and threw her out of the kitchen. After Zhao Xinhui tossed and turned like this, the bones in her body were all shattered. Zhao Ping'er, are you dead? You didn't even help me up when you saw me on the ground. Zhao Xinhui kicked Zhao Ping'er. Zhao Ping'er reluctantly walked to Zhao Xinhui's side and pulled Zhao Xinhui up from the ground. Aunt. Wretched girl, I'll deal with you later. No, Aunt, you can't beat Zhao Yin'er. Let's just forget about it, okay? Zhao Xinhui was not willing to let it go. She turned to Mu Lianfeng with an aggrieved expression and acted coquettishly to Mu Lianfeng. Lord Heir, look at Zhao Yin'er. She's too much. You have to seek justice for me. Men would always feel sorry for beautiful women. Zhao Xinhui pretended to be pitiful again. Even if Mu Lianfeng would not really help her, at least seeing her being bullied so miserably, he would at least know how vicious Zhao Yin'er was, right? Men also hated vicious women, and the crown prince should be the same. But after Zhao Xinhui's tearful complaints, Mu Lianfeng smiled faintly and said, "Why do I feel that this is all your fault? Lord Heir, how could it be my fault? It was clearly Zhao Yuner, that slut, who seduced you. You have to keep your eyes open and not be fooled by her. You don't know, but her reputation has long been ruined. Not only did she get pregnant before marriage and seduce a wild man, but there were also rumors about her relationship with other men in the village. She didn't pick up anything at all. Otherwise, our Zhao family wouldn't have chased her out. She saw that your status is not ordinary, so she pretended in front of you to attract your attention. She wants to rise to the top in the future." Zhao Yuner listened to Zhao Xinhui's scolding and really turned her into an extremely disgusting and evil woman. Just as Zhao Xinhui was getting excited, Zhao Yuner came over and directly slapped Zhao Xinhui's mouth. "Zhao Xinhui, you should keep these words to yourself. Don't falsely accuse me of seducing men. Lord Heir is my man. Do I need to seduce him? You're the slut. You're also thinking about my man. Let me ask you, are you worthy? Speaking of being disgraceful, I don't think anyone in old Zhao's family is more disgraceful than you." Zhao Yuner's slap caused Zhao Xinhui's mouth to swell. She wanted to continue to quarrel with Zhao Yuner, but she couldn't speak. She could only cry. Chapter 404. Haha, this feels so good. As the saying goes, cheese will be punished by the heavens. Zhao Yun had already helped her deal with a tch like her younger aunt. She didn't even need to do anything. That tch couldn't say anything now. Let's see what she can say about her now. Faced with Zhao Yuner's valiant appearance, Mu Lianfeng wasn't afraid at all. Instead, the smile on his face deepened. He looked at Zhao Yuner with a fascinated and bright light in his eyes. Zhao Yuner actually said that he was her man. This feeling of being acknowledged felt so good. "Zhao Yuner, what nonsense are you talking about? How can the heir be your man?" Zhao Xinhui endured the pain and mumbled vaguely. After saying that, she covered her mouth and cried bitterly. She was in so much pain. What should she do now? She had to rest for a few days before she could speak again, right? Why not? The heir will marry me in a while, so he's my man. Zhao Xinhui, I'm warning you. If you want to flirt with a man, you'd better flirt with someone else. No one will stop you if you're tch. But if you mess with my man, don't blame me for being rude. Zhao Yuner's frightening gaze gave Zhao Xinhui a fright. She knew the severity of Zhao Yuner's actions. But if she didn't get close to Mu Lianfeng, how could she get close to Mu Lianfeng? You're still looking? If you take another look, do you believe that I won't gouge your eyeballs out? Zhao Yuner threatened. Zhao Xinhui reluctantly retracted her gaze from Mu Lianfeng's body. Younger aunt, let's hurry and leave. Otherwise, Zhao Yuner will really make a move. Look at how badly you were beaten up just now. If you had listened to me, things wouldn't have turned out like this. You'd better leave now. Zhao Yuner has gone crazy. She might really dig out your eyeballs. Zhao Ping held Zhao Xinhui's hand as she whispered into Zhao Xinhui's ear. Zhao Ping didn't really care about Zhao Xinhui. She was just afraid that if Zhao Xinhui got into a conflict with Zhao Yuner and got her involved, wouldn't she suffer for nothing if she was hurt by Zhao Yuner? After being persuaded by Zhao Ping, Zhao Xinhui was indeed a little scared. She stomped her feet, glared at Zhao Yuner and left. Zhao Yuner clapped her hands. She was in a good mood. How could she not be happy after chasing away the weirdo? When she turned around, she saw Mu Lianfeng behind her. Mu Lianfeng looked at her with a burning gaze. Zhao Yuner felt a little uncomfortable being stared at by Mu Lianfeng. Why didn't he scare her when she was fierce just now? Why are you looking at me? Zhao Yuner asked in a low voice. The aura that had erupted just now suddenly disappeared, and she returned to her feminine appearance. It was as if she had suddenly become a different person. Perhaps a woman couldn't be strong in front of the man she liked. I'm thinking about what you said just now. Mu Lianfeng had a faint smile on his face. What did I say? You said that I'm your man. I said it on purpose for Zhao Xinhui to hear, so that she wouldn't miss you and walk around in front of you. How annoying would you be? Don't you think so? I'm helping you. You have to thank me. Zhao Yun'er faced Mu Lianfeng's burning gaze and explained nervously. Chapter 405. In the face of Mu Lianfeng's direct confession, Zhao Yun'er didn't know how to respond for a while. Then it's a deal. If you become my man, you can't fool around with other women. I'm a jealous woman. If I find out that you're entangled with other women, they'll end up like Zhao Xinhui. Of course, you won't have a good time either. Yes, my wife. Mu Lianfeng was even happier in his heart. He couldn't control himself and leaned toward Zhao Yun'er again, hugging Zhao Yun'er from behind. It was really not good to be seen in broad daylight. Zhao Yun'er hurriedly struggled and broke away from Mu Lianfeng's arms. I'm going to cook. Seeing Zhao Yun'er blushing, Mu Lianfeng followed her into the kitchen. After the two of them went in, Lu Lei saw the sweet interaction between Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng not far away. Originally, he heard that Zhao Yun'er was back, so he came to have a look. During the days when Zhao Yun'er was in trouble, he had been worried about her. But he couldn't find a solution. He was just an ordinary person. How could he have any relationship with the government? Other than praying for Zhao Yun'er every day, he couldn't do any other substantial help. Hearing that Zhao Yun'er was back safely, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. When he came over, he thought that Zhao Yun'er just came back, and there shouldn't be anything delicious at home. After such a torment during these days, she must have lost weight. He just came back from hunting, so he brought a wild rabbit with him to nourish Zhao Yun'er's body. However, he didn't expect that when he came over, he would see Zhao Yun'er flirting with another man. Why did it turn out like this? Lu Lei's heart was indescribably disappointed. The rabbit in his hand also became a lot heavier. A bitter smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He shouldn't have thought about it in the first place. Mu Lianfeng was the heir apparent, and his status was much nobler than his. This time, Zhao Yun'er was able to return safely, and it was all thanks to Mu Lianfeng. Thinking about him again, what could he do for Zhao Yun'er? It seemed that there was nothing he could do. Such a sense of defeat made Lu Lei feel even more uncomfortable. Lu Lei let out a sigh. Forget it. If Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng got together, he should give them his blessings. After all, he should be happy that Zhao Yun'er found a good family. Lu Lei carried the hair and turned around to leave Zhao Yun'er's house. Brother Lu. Xiao Hong's voice suddenly came from behind him. Lu Lei turned around and replied indifferently. You're here too? Yeah, I saw you at Sister Yun'er's place just now. Brother Lu, why don't you go in? Lu Lei didn't know how to explain. I was just passing by. Lu Lei twitched the corner of his mouth and said. Xiao Hong's eyes had a touch of complexity. Brother Lu, there's something I don't know if I should say. What is it? Chapter 406. To put it bluntly, the purpose of Xiao Hong's words was to make Lu Lei give up. On the other hand, she was accusing Zhao Yun'er of being a woman who coveted wealth. How could he marry such a woman? She was only interested in money. After Xiao Hong finished speaking, Lu Lei felt very uncomfortable and defended Zhao Yun'er. Yun'er is not that kind of woman. Brother Lu, I know you don't want to believe it, but this is the truth. Speaking of which, you're not bad. You're so nice to Sister Yun'er. You're just a little less rich than the heir. Xiao Hong, that's enough. Lu Lei said coldly and left in a huff. Looking at Lu Lei's back, Xiao Hong's lips curled up into a smile. It didn't matter whether Lu Lei believed her or not. Anyway, he must have felt uncomfortable in his heart. Lu Lei could only be hers. As for Zhao Yun'er, she didn't believe that Zhao Yun'er could really be with Mu Lianfeng. After all, with Zhao Yun'er's status, Mu Lianfeng wouldn't take a liking to her at all. She remembered that there was a man in Zhao Yun'er's house. That man was Mu Lianfeng. As for why he was in Zhao Yun'er's house, it should be because Zhao Yun'er saved him by chance. Mu Lianfeng was now helping Zhao Yun'er to express his gratitude. Zhao Yun'er busied herself for a while and finished cooking. She called Mu Lianfeng and doubted to eat together. The fried bacon tasted very good and was very fragrant. The bacon in the heir's mansion was indeed much better than the bacon she made herself. The three of them sat together and ate together. The atmosphere was very harmonious. After the family finished eating happily, Mu Lianfeng said goodbye reluctantly. He looked at Zhao Yun'er and then looked at Daodu. If possible, he really wanted to stay by their side forever. Yin'er, I have to go back, Mu Lianfeng said. Zhao Yun also felt a little reluctant to leave at this moment. Mu Lianfeng had lived in her house for a long time. She was used to him being here, but now he was leaving. Yin'er, this is 100 taels of silver. Take it. You don't have to work hard to earn money. When I come back, I'll take you and Daodu to live a good life. Looking at the money in Mu Lianfeng's hand, Zhao Yin'er didn't want to take it. They weren't even married yet. What did she mean by accepting this money? Mu Lianfeng and... If old Madame Mu knew about this, she would probably look down on her again. Moreover, even if she took Mu Lianfeng's money, she would still earn money. In case she encountered any obstacles when she was together with Mu Lianfeng in the future, Mu Lianfeng would move in with her. The two of them would at least have a source of income. It was always better to plan ahead and make more arrangements in advance. If the business was successful, she wouldn't have to worry about money in the future. She was a woman in the 21st century and had some thoughts of a woman in the 21st century. A woman should have her own career and ability. She shouldn't rely on a man to support her. Her future was in the hands of the man. If she started to spend Mu Lianfeng's money now, she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to get rid of Mu Lianfeng one day. In addition, she had promised to do business with Mulan before. She couldn't go back on her words. Mulan's family didn't have it easy now. She had to make a fortune with them. Chapter 407. But Yin'er, no buts. If you force it on me, I'll be angry. I will be angry, Zhao Yin'er insisted. Mu Lianfeng knew Zhao Yin'er's character. Zhao Yin'er was different from other women. She was more independent and self-reliant. He didn't want to force Zhao Yin'er, so he took back his money bag. Yin'er, don't work too hard. Otherwise I'll feel bad for you. The corner of Zhao Yin'er's mouth raised into a smile. Don't worry, how tired can it be? I can't just lie at home and do nothing all the time, right? I'll be useless if I do that. Mu Lianfeng was still worried, but he couldn't do anything about Zhao Yin'er. Before he left, he said to Daodu, Daodu, Daddy is leaving. You have to protect your mother during this time, okay? You're a man now. Daodu nodded heavily. I know, Daddy. Mu Lianfeng patted Daodu's head, then got into the carriage and left reluctantly. Dodo leaned against the door and watched as Mu Lianfeng's carriage went further and further away. Her face was filled with reluctance. Okay, Daodu, Daddy's gone. Don't look. You can go play with Uncle. Okay. In the afternoon, Zhao Yin'er continued to tidy up the house and tidied up the vegetable garden. He took some twigs from the fence and sprinkled some vegetable seeds along the way. When she was almost done, Zhao Yin'er picked some things at home and prepared to give them to her parents. Since they had separated from the family, she could openly take some things over. Old Zhao's family wouldn't know anyway. She took a little of each of the things she brought back from the Shitsi's mansion. She carried the basket and walked in the direction of old Zhao's house. When Zhao Yin'er arrived at old Zhao's house, Hua Chunhua and Zhao Xinhui were sitting in the yard. Hua Chunhua was holding an egg in her hand and was putting it on Zhao Xinhui's mouth. After all, her slap wasn't light. Zhao Xinhui's mouth was swollen badly. Mother, you. Be gentle. It hurts. Zhao Xinhui pouted and let out a muffled groan. Okay. Mother, be gentle. That wretched girl, she hit you so hard. Woo woo woo. Zhao Xinhui also glared at him fiercely. Her eyes were filled with resentment as she whimpered in agreement. Alright. Don't talk if your mouth hurts. Hua Chunhua comforted her. Seeing her daughter being beaten so badly, she couldn't help but feel distressed, but she didn't dare to provoke Zhao Yin'er. She could only suffer in silence. That wretched girl is getting more and more outrageous. Hua Chunhua snorted and looked at Zhao Baoshan. You're Huiyer's father. Don't you know how to do something when you see your daughter being bullied like this? What can I do? Yin'er is like this now. Who dares to provoke her? Next time, I'll let you eat feces. Hua Chunhua was really scared when she heard that. But we can't let Hui suffer for nothing. Hua Chunhua muttered. What else can we do? Isn't it Huiyer who provoked her? Otherwise, why would she hit her? Zhao Baoshan replied unhappily. Chapter 408. After hearing Zhao Peng'er's words, Hua Chunhua trembled with anger. This wretched girl was too much. Did that girl really say that? Hua Chunhua asked angrily. Of course, Grandma. If you don't believe me, you can ask Auntie. Hua Chunhua looked at Zhao Xinhui. Zhao Xinhui nodded. That's just a girl. What do you mean by Mai Hui? Or seducing Prince Shitzi? Isn't she just afraid that Prince Shitzi will fall for her? Mai Hui, is much better than her. Zhao Xinhui agreed with a sob. She felt that what Hua Chunhua said was the truth. Zhao Yun'er must be afraid that Prince Shitzi would fall for her. That was why she did not let her get close to her. She was really scheming. However, the more Zhao Yun'er did not let her, the more she wanted to get close to her. As long as she caught Mu Lianfeng's attention, she would not have to worry about wealth and glory in the future. Grandma, I think so too. Our auntie is much better than Zhao Yun'er. She is beautiful and still a virgin. Zhao Peng'er said with a smile. On one hand, she was trying to please Hua Chunhua. On the other hand, she was thinking that if Zhao Xinhui really went to court death, she would be beaten up by Zhao Yun'er. By then it would be interesting. As the three of them were talking, Liang Jinxiao walked out of the room. When Hua Chunhua saw Liang Jinxiao, she blamed Liang Jinxiao for her anger. In the end, it's this wretched girl who gave birth to that shameless B*TC Zhao Yun'er. As Hua Chunhua said, she threw a handful of pebbles on the ground at Liang Jinxiao. Liang Jinxiao snorted. Zhao Yun'er did not hear what Hua Chunhua and the others said. However, as soon as she arrived, she saw Hua Chunhua bullying her mother. She immediately became angry. This damned old woman. She's still acting like this. Why are you bullying my mother? Zhao Yun'er scolded. Hua Chunhua shuddered when she saw Zhao Yun'er coming over. I didn't. Do you really think I'm blind? You didn't see it? Your mother didn't do anything. She just threw some stones. It was just the more Zhao Yun'er listened, the angrier she got. What kind of person was this? He grabbed a handful of stones from the ground and threw them at Hua Chunhua. Hua Chunhua cried out in pain. Since Grandma said so, then it doesn't matter if I throw it. Hua Chunhua could do nothing but grit her teeth. I'll say it right here. Grandma, if you dare to bully my mother again, then don't blame me for being rude. Hua Chunhua was a little scared by Zhao Yun'er's terrifying glare. All right, Yun'er, don't say any more. I'm fine. Liang Jinxiao pulled Zhao Yun'er. Mother, are you really okay? Does it hurt anywhere? No, it doesn't hurt. Yun'er, why are you here? Liang Jinxiao asked. Mother, I brought you something. Zhao Yun'er said as she handed the basket in her hand to Liang Jinxiao. Liang Jinxiao looked inside. Aya, Yun'er, why do you have salted meat and salted fish? These are all good things. You should keep them for yourself. Why did you send them to us? Liang Jinxiao didn't want to accept Zhao Yun'er's things. He felt that Zhao Yun'er's life wasn't easy. It's okay. Mother, you can keep them. I still have some at home. There are also some pastries and candies for Tianfu to eat. You can try them yourselves. They taste very good. Yun'er, keep them, mother. Otherwise I'll be angry. Chapter 409. As soon as old Zhao's family heard that Zhao Yun'er had sent something over, and it was something good, they immediately looked at it eagerly. Now that the third branch had separated, the things that Zhao Yun'er sent over naturally belonged to the third branch. They just couldn't imagine it. Ah, Yun'er, what good things did you send? Li Chuiying asked sourly. It's nothing. It's none of your business. Zhao Yun'er replied indifferently. Yun'er, did the Shitzi send these good things over? Since there are so many, why don't you get some for us too? We haven't eaten good things before, so we don't know what they taste like. Li Chuiying said shamelessly. Facing Zhao Yun'er's indifference, he didn't get angry. He continued to kneel down and fawn over her, wanting to get more. Zhao Yun'er sneered in her heart. How shameless! How could he say such things? Second aunt, when I was hungry and had nothing to eat, I didn't see you send me anything. What? Now you have the nerve to ask me to send you things? Zhao Yun'er wasn't afraid of offending people, so she mocked and ridiculed. Li Chuiying didn't think much of it. After all, he was thick-skinned. Zhao Baoshan couldn't listen to it anymore. He scolded Li Chuiying. Yin'er's things belong to Yin'er. Why are you coming over here to ask for more? Hurry up and go inside. Don't make a fool of yourself. Li Chuiying pursed his lips. Father, I won't say anything. Looking at the good things that Zhao Yin'er sent over, Li Chuiying suddenly regretted pushing the third branch to separate. Otherwise, old Zhao's family would also have a share of these things. Thinking about the taste of bacon and salted fish, Li Chuiying couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Mother, let's go inside, Zhao Yin'er said. It was very uncomfortable to be stared at by old Zhao's family. Okay, let's go inside. Liang Jinxiao nodded in response. In fact, she also knew that the things in her hands would be coveted by old Zhao's family. Since they didn't want to give it to her, she might as well not let them see it. The two of them went into the third branch's room one after the other. When Zhao Pinger heard about pastries, candies, and other delicious food, her eyes lit up. The three branches separated from the family. The things that Zhao Yin'er sent over had nothing to do with the old Zhao family, but they were related to her. She could eat them. Thinking about it, he couldn't help but feel happy. However, he couldn't show it in front of Zhao Xinhui and Hua Chunhua. Stupid girl, now that you're rich, you don't recognize us anymore. Old Zhao's family gave birth to such a heartless girl, Hua Chunhua complained, then continued to help Zhao Xinhui cover her mouth. Hui'er, it's about time. Come eat the egg. Don't waste it. Hua Chunhua said, took off the gauze wrapped around the egg, and handed it to Zhao Xinhui's mouth. Zhao Xinhui frowned and felt disgusted. She quickly shook her head. No, take it away. This is an egg. It's precious. It'll be a waste if you don't eat it. Zhao Xinhui still shook her head firmly. She used it to cover her mouth. She felt disgusted just thinking about how it was held in Hua Chunhua's black hand. It was mainly because Hua Chunhua didn't like to be clean. After she peed and pooped, she often scratched here and there. There was even black soil under her fingernails. Who would dare to eat something she took? Mother, if little sister doesn't want to eat it, give it to Tianyu. Li Chuiying ran over with a smile. Chapter 410. At the end of the day, Hua Chunhua treated Shin Pan'er better. She liked this smooth and slick daughter-in-law more. It was old Zhao's fortune to be able to marry such a person into old Zhao's family. Shin Pan'er stood to the side with Zhao Yangyang in her arms. She appeared to be grateful for Hua Chunhua's kindness, but she was disgusted in her heart. Just like Zhao Xinhui, she felt disgusted. Zhao Xinhui couldn't eat the egg that she had grabbed with her dirty hands and put it in his mouth. Even if her Yangyang didn't have anything to eat, he didn't need to eat this egg. Moreover, as long as Zhao Tianlong passed the provincial examinations, she and her son would have a good life. They would just have to suffer for a while. She still had some money in her pocket. If she wanted to give it to Zhao Yangyang, she could secretly buy some things for him. Shin Pan'er smiled gently and said to Hua Chunhua, Grandmother, there's no need. Let's give it to Tianyu. Tianyu is still growing. He needs to eat more good food. Li Chuiying grinned happily when she saw that Shin Pan'er was speaking up for Zhao Tianyu and had no intention of snatching the egg from her. Her niece-in-law was the best. She was sensible. A daughter raised by a rich family was indeed different. She was much more magnanimous. She was nothing like Zhao Yin'er, who was stingy and wouldn't let anyone take advantage of her. Pan'er is right. Tianyu is growing. His body hasn't been very well these days. Grandmother, let's give it to Tianyu. Yangyang has eaten plenty of good food at grandmother's house. One was pushing the egg away, while the other was eagerly trying to snatch it. Hua Chunhua snorted softly and handed the egg to Li Chuiying. All right, let's give it to Tianyu. Thank you, mother. Li Chuiying happily took the egg. After receiving the egg, Li Chuiying hurriedly called Zhao Tianyu over to eat it. Seeing Li Chuiying directly holding it in his hand, without washing it with water, Shin Pan'er couldn't take it anymore. These people from old Zhao's family, don't they find it dirty? A country bumpkin was indeed a country bumpkin. They didn't know how to be particular at all. Shin Pan'er couldn't help but remind her. Second aunt, rinse the eggs with water first before feeding them to Tianyu. Li Chuiying paused for a moment, then smiled and said, It's okay. You won't get sick if you eat it dirty. What's there to be picky about? As she spoke, Li Chuiying stuffed the egg into Zhao Tianyu's mouth. Xin Pan'er really didn't know what to say. How could this be? When she thought about how much of the food she ate was cooked by Li Chuiying, she almost vomited. Those dishes were probably not clean, right? Pan'er, what's wrong? Li Chuiying noticed that Xin Pan'er was clutching her chest, so she approached her and asked with concern. Xin Pan'er hurriedly took a step back and waved her hand. It's okay, it's okay. Thank you for your concern. As long as you're okay. Li Chuiying smiled. Xin Pan'er hurriedly found an excuse and went back into the house. Zhao Ping'er, Zhao Xinhui called out to Zhao Ping'er. What's wrong, Auntie? Zhao Ping'er asked politely, but she had a bad feeling in her heart. Zhao Yun'er didn't let us eat the food she sent over, but you can eat it. Go get some for me. I heard that she sent pastries and candies. Chapter 411. If Zhao Xinhui hadn't brought it up, she wouldn't have wanted to talk about it. After all, she could eat a lot by herself if she secretly ate it later. She didn't expect Zhao Xinhui to bring it up. What? Zhao Xinhui replied unhappily. Auntie, I can't get it even if I go in. Zhao Yun'er definitely won't let me eat it. You're her sister, why can't you eat it? If she doesn't let you eat it, just tell your mother. Ask your mother to scold her. Yes, Ping. You're from the third branch. How can she not let you eat it? Go get some for your auntie. What Chunhua urged again. If she didn't bring it, she might be scolded. Thus, she went into the house reluctantly. Then I'll go and try. Go. Zhao Ping got up and walked towards the third branch's house. In the third branch's house, Zhao Yun'er and Liang Jinxiao were chatting. After the separation, the paddy field and dry land given to the third branch were not very good places. The paddy field was located far away, and it would take at least 10 minutes to get there. Moreover, the paddy field was far from the canal, so it wasn't very convenient to irrigate it. The rice grains planted in the paddy field must be watered frequently. Otherwise, when the paddy field dried up, it would be easy for the rice grains to dry up. However, watering the paddy field was a troublesome thing. When they separated, they only said that they would be given 1 mu of paddy field, and didn't specify which one to give. Through this kind of deception, the paddy field was given to the worst of the third branch. Zhao Yun'er felt angry when she heard Liang Jinxiao's words. He didn't have to bully people to this extent, right? He was simply treating them as fools. There was also 1 mu of dry land at the foot of the mountain, which was even more remote. Although there was land, old Zhao's family didn't grow much food because the land was very barren, and there wasn't much food that could be grown. In addition, it was difficult to take care of. As long as the weeds weren't removed for a period of time, they would grow a lot. The trees at the foot of the mountain were more lush, so they grew very quickly. Due to the disproportionate investment and output, old Zhao's family didn't grow anything on this piece of land. As a result, this piece of dry land was equivalent to an abandoned dry land. At this moment, Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan went to the dry land to clear the weeds and loosen the soil. Since it was given to them, they had to take good care of it. Otherwise, there wouldn't even be an acre of dry land, and there wouldn't even be a place to grow vegetables. When the time came, they could just plant some random things, and they would just have to work a little harder. Things were no longer the same as before. There were only so many things in the house. It would be difficult for them to live a good life. If he didn't work hard now, his life would be miserable in the future, and he would be laughed at by old Zhao's family. Zhao Yun'er gritted her teeth and said to Liang Jinxiao, "Mother, why are they doing this? They must have done it on purpose. I'll go look for them." Liang Jinxiao grabbed Zhao Yun'er and said, "Yun'er, forget it. It's not easy to split from the family now. Although it's only this much land, it's at least a little. It's better than not giving anything to our third branch. If you make a fuss like this, what if you say that you don't want to split from the family? Yun'er, your father and Tianan are both diligent. Even if we don't rely on these 2 mu of land, our lives will slowly improve." Chapter 412. Liang Jinxiao sighed again and said, "In fact, your grandfather and the others don't have it easy. Your eldest cousin brother is still studying, and your fifth uncle is not married yet. If they give too many things to our third branch, it will be their lives that will be difficult. Zhao Yun'er said with some displeasure. Mother, you know how they treated our third branch in the past. Why are you sympathizing with them now? Liang Jinxiao tugged the corners of his mouth and smiled slightly. Yun'er, only your grandmother and the others went overboard. You fourth uncle and fifth uncle are all quite good, aren't they? Especially your fifth uncle. When he heard that something happened to you, he hurriedly asked for leave and came back to help you think of a way to save you. Your grandfather even took out 20 taels of silver to bribe them. Because of this, your grandmother made a lot of trouble back then. Zhao Yun'er frowned. After hearing Liang Jinxiao's words, she felt that Zhao Baoshan had some conscience. 20 taels of silver was not a small sum. After using it all these years, he probably did not have much money left after selling her. However, Zhao Baoshan was willing to take out 20 taels of silver at once and use this money to save her. Zhao Yun'er could not describe how she felt now. Originally, her resentment towards Zhao Baoshan did not seem to be so deep. Mother, you said that fifth uncle went to save me? Where is he now? Why isn't he at home? I'm already back. Is he still in Yang City? Zhao Yun'er asked hurriedly. At the mention of Zhao Wensheng, Liang Jinxiao suddenly remembered. Yun'er, I wanted to ask you, why is your fifth uncle not back when you're back? Shouldn't he be looking for you? Zhao Yun'er did not know what to say for a moment. Her fifth uncle probably did not know that she had Mu Lianfeng's help. Otherwise he would not have gone to Yang City. Although his efforts were in vain, he still had the intention. Zhao Yun'er would always be grateful and touched to those who cared about her. Mother, it was the heir presumptive who helped me settle the matter. Moreover, I didn't commit any crime and was wronged. In the end, I was naturally released when the evidence was found. Liang Jinxiao said with a sigh. At that time, you were taken away. How would we know? We didn't know if the heir presumptive's identity was real or not. And we didn't even know if he would help you. The government is a place where people and many people who have been wronged. That's why your fifth uncle insisted on going to Yang City to help you. And the government says, as long as you TS, that's as long as US. As long as you TTTTTT. Yes. We can't let your fifth uncle worry for nothing. Got it, mother. At this moment, Zhao Ping pushed the door open and entered. Zhao Yun'er could not be bothered with Zhao Ping, so she did not even look up when she heard Zhao Ping enter. Zhao Ping searched the room and found the basket that Zhao Yun'er had brought over. She walked towards the basket. She rummaged through the basket and found that there were indeed pastries and candies. Zhao Ping was greedy. She quickly took a piece of pastry and stuffed it into her mouth. Delicious. It was too delicious. She had never eaten anything so delicious in her life. Chapter 413. Zhao Ping began to ponder. If she could be together with the heir apparent, wouldn't she be able to eat such delicious food every day in the future? She would be able to live such a good life. After eating a piece of pastry, Zhao Ping took out some more from the basket. Zhao Yun'er caught a glimpse of it and couldn't help but scold. Zhao Ping, what are you doing? Eating? What's wrong? Can't we eat? Zhao Yun'er, didn't you bring it over for us to eat? Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but roll her eyes in her heart. She was extremely disgusted by Zhao Ping. I brought it over for you to eat, but Tianan, Tianfu and father and mother haven't eaten yet. Aren't you embarrassed to start eating by yourself? What's there to be embarrassed about? Do we have to eat first before eating? Zhao Ping didn't take it to heart. Zhao Yun'er was really angered by Zhao Ping. How could there be such a person? She was already 20 years old, yet she didn't know the rules at all. Even those who didn't study knew to respect the old and love the young. Eat. She only knew how to eat all day long. It would be best if this kind of person died from eating. Zhao Ping, you're really something. I don't know how father and mother gave birth to a person like you. Zhao Yun'er said angrily. Zhao Ping knew that she couldn't beat Zhao Yun'er, so she could only complain in front of Liang Jinxiao. Mother, look at what Zhao Yin'er said. Didn't I just eat a little? She's acting as if I've done something wrong. She doesn't even treat me as her biological sister. She's picking on me over such a small matter. Liang Jinxiao's head hurt from Zhao Ping'er's yelling. Sigh, this eldest daughter of his was also a worrisome one. She was the most worrisome person in the family. Ping'er, Yin'er only said a few words to you. Why are you overreacting? You're the elder sister. Sometimes you shouldn't be so calculative. Zhao Yin'er was much more sensible than Zhao Ping'er. Liang Jinxiao naturally had a comparison in his heart, so he was more biased towards Zhao Yin'er. Liang Jinxiao's words made Zhao Ping'er very unhappy. Mother, how can you do this? I'm also your daughter. You only know how to speak up for Zhao Yin. Ping'er, we're a family. Let's talk nicely. Why are you and your sister acting like enemies? If it weren't for the fact that she didn't want to upset Liang Jinxiao, Zhao Yin'er would have kicked Zhao Ping'er out of the house. It was disgusting to keep such a person in the house. Zhao Yin'er tugged at Liang Jinxiao and asked Liang Jinxiao not to get involved in this matter. She didn't want to make things difficult for Liang Jinxiao. Both sides were flesh and blood. It wouldn't be good to be biased. Zhao Yin'er took a step forward and stared coldly at Zhao Ping. Zhao Ping, I think you really don't know your place at all. Since you've eaten the food I sent over, you have to listen to me. Your two younger brothers and parents haven't eaten yet. You can't eat by yourself first. Also, don't eat so much by yourself. What about the others? What do you mean by bringing so much food with you? Zhao Ping'er was a little speechless. She was afraid of heaven and earth, but she seemed to have forgotten that these things were sent over by Zhao Yin'er. If she really didn't eat them, she couldn't do anything about it. I only ate a little. The food in my hand is what Grandma and youngest aunt asked me to prepare for them. Zhao Ping'er spat. Chapter 414. If it was in the past, Hua Chunhua and Zhao Huihui would still be able to let her live a better life in old Zhao's house. But now that the family was separated, it was useless to curry favor with Hua Chunhua and Zhao Xinhui. In the future, the third branch's life would only be better than old Zhao's. It would be good enough if the people in old Zhao's house did not want to take advantage of the third branch. After being asked by Zhao Yin'er, Zhao Ping'er did not know how to answer. If I don't take it, Grandma and little aunt will scold me, not you. Zhao Ping'er pouted. You're scared in front of them? Why are you so arrogant in front of me? Zhao Yin'er sneered. Zhao Yin'er, are you done? I won't take it. Zhao Ping'er said and put down the things in her hands. I hope you understand the situation. Don't side with outsiders. You don't know who you're close to. I know. Zhao Ping'er replied unhappily. If it wasn't for the fact that she was afraid that she would not get a share of the things Zhao Yin'er sent over, she would not have bothered with Zhao Yin'er. Zhao Yin'er did not want to talk about Zhao Ping'er anymore, so she said to Liang Jinxiao, Mother, I'll go back first. Okay, take care. Okay. After Zhao Yin'er was about to leave old Zhao, she went to find Daodu. Zhao Tianfu took Daodu to the dry land allocated to the third branch and watched Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan work. The dry land allocated to them was full of weeds and some tree stumps. Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan each carried a hoe and were plowing the land. However, there were no more seeds in the land, and the soil had become very hard. There was no reaction at all when the hoe went down. The weeds were still okay. Some of the weeds were very deep and could not be moved at all. The small tree stumps that they encountered could not be removed with a hoe. Tianan, you can't use a hoe to remove the tree stumps. Even if the hoe is damaged, there won't be any reaction. You have to use a shovel. Zhao Wenhua said to Zhao Tianan. But father, we don't have a shovel. Master didn't give us any. Zhao Tianan frowned. Then go borrow one from your master. It's just a little bit. It's best to loosen the soil with a shovel instead of a hoe. Oh Dad, I'll go. Tell our master to bring the shovel over. Zhao nodded. Zhao Yin'er just came over and stopped Zhao Tianan. Tianan, don't borrow from me. I have some at home. To have a good rest to have a good rest. Look at how sweaty you are. The two of them had been busy for the whole afternoon. The sun was shining brightly at 2 or 3 o'clock. Now that it was spring, The weather was getting warmer and warmer. After doing heavy work for such a long time, their bodies were naturally drenched in sweat. Zhao Yin'er looked at Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan. Her face was a little red. Zhao Wenhua saw Zhao Yin'er coming over, and did not dare to look at Zhao Yin'er's eyes. Perhaps it was because she felt guilty about what she had done in the past. Yin'er, you're here too? Zhao Wenhua asked. Yes. Zhao Yin'er nodded. She did not want her relationship with Zhao Wenhua to be too stiff. Second sister, I'll go get it. Zhao Tianan felt sorry for Zhao Yin'er and did not want her to make another trip. Looking at Zhao Tianan's red face, Zhao Yin'er smiled. Silly boy, you really don't know how to be tired? Take a rest. It's cool under the tree. Second sister will bring you some cold water. Chapter 4:15. After all, they had worked for such a long time, and the sun was too strong. Their lips were already chapped. When the two of them came to work, they didn't think to bring water. Yin'er, I'll have to trouble you then. Zhao Wenhua said. No problem. It was just an extra trip. She could just treat it as exercise. It just so happened that she had nothing to do. Zhao Yin'er returned home with a shovel. The tea she made earlier had already cooled down. Zhao Yin'er added some honey to make the tea less bitter. Instead, it was a little sweet. However, people in this era had never drunk tea before. Even if they had tea, they didn't know how to make it. Zhao Yin'er carried the tea and the shovel, and soon went up the mountain again. Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan sat under a tree and fanned themselves with their straw hats. Father Tianan, drink some water. Zhao Yin'er greeted them. Then, she poured a cup for each of them, and handed it to them. Second sister, what's this? It's delicious. It's sweet and fragrant. Zhao Tianan said excitedly after drinking a cup. Zhao Yin'er smiled and explained. This is water made from tea leaves and honey. Both the tea leaves and honey are very fragrant, so it naturally smells good. Honey is sweet, so when you drink it, you'll have a sweet smell. Second sister, what's tea leaves? It's the leaves on the tea tree. You don't recognize it, but it's drinkable. Oh. Zhao Tianan nodded heavily. Zhao Yin'er recognized a lot of things, so it wasn't surprising that she came up with something novel. The tea tasted really good. It was fragrant and fragrant. After drinking it, he felt like drinking it again. Yin'er, this thing can also quench your thirst. Zhao Wenhua said. He was interested in Zhao Yin'er's tea. Father, if you like it, I'll send you some tea leaves later. You can just make some water and soak it in it. Is this valuable? I went up the mountain to pick it myself. It's not valuable. All right, then give me some. If it was something valuable, he wouldn't accept it. After Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan drank the water, they continued to work. Zhao Yin'er watched from the side. She couldn't help much. After all, this kind of physical work was done neatly by men. Because the soil was very hard, it took a lot of effort to dig down with a shovel. After a long time, he only managed to dig a little bit. It was estimated that it would take a few days to reclaim an acre of land. Father Tianan, there is no need to rush for 1 or 2 days. Take your time. Don't be too tired. Zhao Yin'er urged. Seeing that Zhao Yin'er was concerned about him, Zhao Yunlong's face revealed a blissful smile. I know. I'll rest after a while. I still have to make a stove tomorrow. Even if we split up, we can't use your milk in their kitchen. Zhao Yin'er nodded. Originally, there was only one kitchen. After the 3 houses split up, they had to build another stove. Daodu and Zhao Tianfu were still playing happily. The two of them were picking crickets in the grass. The children looked for things to play with. After all, there wasn't much entertainment. Zhao Yin'er looked around. Old Zhao's house was at the foot of the mountain. Other families also had land here. However, like old Zhao's house, it was difficult to take care of, so they didn't want it. Some families really didn't have enough land, so they planted some crops like soybeans. The entire hillside wasn't very high. There weren't any thick trees, only some small branches. Chapter 4:16. This hill was not tall, so it was more troublesome to take care of it. The harvest of grain crops was also not good. It would be good if she used it to plant tea trees. This hill could probably plant a lot of tea trees. Most importantly, it would be much more convenient to find someone to help pick the tea leaves if she planted the tea trees here. No one in the village would be willing to go to the real mountain, and no one would dare to go. In addition, if she bought this large piece of barren hill, the price would definitely not be expensive. Most of the land belonged to the village, and the villagers only had a few mu of farmland at the foot of the hill. Unfortunately, the current problem was the sales of the tea leaves. No matter how good the tea was, it was useless if it could not be sold. Zhao Yun did not want to think about the tea leaves for the time being. Second sister, what are you looking at? Let's go back. Zhao Tianan used his sleeve to wipe the sweat on his forehead and said to Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun came back to her senses and smiled. Okay. The few of them went back together. When it was close to evening, Zhao Wenxing actually came back from Yang City. He did not go back to old Zhao's house. Instead, he first came to Zhao Yun's place to confirm if Zhao Yun had returned home safely. In the past few days in Yang City, Zhao Wenxing did not rest well. He looked very haggard, probably because he was worried about her. Yun girl, I heard that you were released and rushed back. I thought something would happen to you. I didn't expect the case to be closed so quickly. Zhao Wenxing sighed. Seeing the concern in Zhao Tianxing's eyes as he looked at her, Zhao Yun told Zhao Wenxing about Mu Lianfeng's help. Zhao Wenxing was stunned. Yun, so you're saying that your case was helped by the heir? Zhao Wenxing asked. Yes, I didn't do anything. Shitzi just added fuel to the fire and helped me find the evidence. Sigh. Zhao Wenxing sighed deeply. Seeing that Zhao Wenxing's reaction was not right, Zhao Yun asked, Fifth uncle, what's wrong? I sent 20 taels of silver to the Yaman's private advisor. He said that he would help you settle this case. When I heard that you were released today, I thought that it was the private advisor who helped you. I didn't expect that it was the heir. After Zhao Wenxing finished speaking, he frowned. He realized that if everything was attributed to Mu Lianfeng, then the 20 taels of silver would have been wasted. Fifth uncle, let's go back and ask for the private advisor back. Zhao Yun said. 20 taels of silver was not a small sum. It was enough for an average farmer family to use for several years. Moreover, Zhao Wenxing was already old. If he had these 20 taels of silver, he could save them up for his marriage. Yun girl, I'm afraid it's not so easy to get the money back. He's a private advisor and a member of the Yamen. We're just ordinary people. How dare we offend him? Zhao Wenxing said. It was not that he did not dare to cause trouble and was willing to suffer in silence. It was because he knew the darkness of this world. Many times it was not as simple as one thought. In front of powerful people, ordinary people like them were really unarmed and could not fight against them. Zhao Yun had been a police officer for so many years. She had justice in her heart and could not stand this kind of darkness. Chapter 417. When he heard Zhao Yun say that she wanted to sue the private advisor, Zhao Wenxing felt that Zhao Yun must be confused. Yun, what are you suing him for? He didn't cheat us of our money, nor did he rob us. I was the one who took the initiative to give it to him. Moreover, he did agree to help us. It's just that he didn't help us because of Shitzi Ye's interference. Fifth uncle, listen to me. If he doesn't return it to us, we'll sue him for corruption, bribery, malpractice, and abusing his power. I reckon that other than my case, he must have accepted a lot of money from others. As long as this kind of person does it once, there will be a second time. We can always find something to use against him. Moreover, this kind of malignant tumor shouldn't stay in the government. Many people were probably framed because of him. For the darkness of the feudal system, Zhao Yun could be considered to have experienced it. People like the private advisor should be eliminated as soon as possible. But Yun, we were the ones who sent the money over. Will he say that we bribed him and be punished as well? I'm not guilty to begin with. I don't need him to let me out at all. What kind of bribe are we doing? Don't worry, fifth uncle. To deal with this kind of person, if we want to get the money back, we must scare him. Otherwise, he won't obediently hand it over. Zhao Wenxing didn't know if Zhao Yun was telling the truth or not, but it sounded a little reasonable. For the sake of those 20 taels of silver, he could only try. Yinner, let's go tomorrow. Okay, fifth uncle. Go back and rest first. I've made you worry these 2 days. Zhao Wenxing smiled. Seeing that you're back safely, I'm finally relieved. At night, Zhao Yinner slept with Daodu. Because Mu Lianfeng wasn't around, Zhao Yinner felt that the bed was empty. Without someone by her side, she didn't feel safe. She now hoped that Mu Lianfeng could come back early, so that there would be someone to accompany her. The next morning, Zhao Yinner and Zhao Wenxing went to Yang City together. This time, other than asking for money, Zhao Yinner also wanted to ask about the snack stall. Now, she had to find a business to do and slowly make a fortune. The snack stall was what she had discussed with Mulan. Xiao Mao, who had not been used for a few days, was put to good use again. Xiao Mao was very excited when it pulled the cart, and its 4 legs were running, as if they were flying. On the way, the uncle and niece chatted casually for a while. Zhao Wenxing was more concerned about Mu Lianfeng. She was curious about the relationship between Mu Lianfeng and Zhao Yinner. Zhao Yinner felt that the relationship between her and Mu Lianfeng had not been settled yet. If she told him about it, it would not be good. Thus, he responded with a sentence. Yinner, there is still a gap between our status and that of the heir. Nowadays, it's all about matching and social status. If you really get together with the crown prince, according to the rules, you can only be a concubine. If that's the case, your child will be a concubine's son in the future, and won't be able to raise his head in the outside world. This kind of glory and wealth is not so easy to live. In the face of Zhao Wenxing's reminder, Zhao Yinner knew all about it. Zhao Yinner curled the corners of her mouth. Fifth uncle, I know. I won't have any thoughts that I shouldn't have. That's good. Zhao Wenxing nodded. In fact, he wanted his niece to grow up well more than anyone else. But he knew the difference in status. If Zhao Yinner could find someone, she could only be an ordinary person. The two of them soon arrived at Yang City and went straight to the private advisor's residence. Zhao Wenxing had been here before, so he knew where the private advisor lived. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.